Xfinity Series at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the running of the Focus Health 250. 3 races to go in the regular season on the NASCAR Xfinity Series side of things as we get to see the race for the regular season championship continue on between Justin Allgaier and Cole Custer, and we get to see if we'll have yet another upset winner in the Xfinity Series playoff field. Currently 8 different drivers locked into the playoffs with wins. 12 will qualify once we get to the end of the regular season again in the next few races. Coming into this one here today, very, very high hopes are going to be on the RCR number 2, Jesse Love, who was fastest in qualifying earlier today, won the most recent super speedway, or second to last super speedway race at Talladega in the spring. He led the most laps at Atlanta earlier this year en route to, unfortunately, falling out of the lead battle at the finish, ran out of gas in the final overtime restart. We'll see if they can calculate the fuel a little bit better here today and put themselves in that same situation they were in earlier this spring to try to get the win here in the fall. Appreciate everybody tuning in for this one. Be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We have live NASCAR commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend for Truck Xfinity Cup Series races, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. Wrapped up our qualifying stream earlier today, about an hour ago from where we were now. Appreciate everybody that tuned in for that, and as well that are here again for this race today. 250 miles and 163 laps will be the scheduled distance. Jesse Love again on the pole for the start of today's race. We'll go through the rest of the starting order here quickly as the engines have just fired, and we will be a few minutes away from the drop of the green flag for today's race. Taylor Gray still looking for his first win in a part-time role in the 19 for JGR this year. He'll be on the outside of row 1. Alongside, again, Jesse Love, the pole sitter. Cole Custer and Austin Hill in row number 2. Hill looking for his 3rd win of the year. His first 2 in the first 2 races on super speedways this season, Daytona and Atlanta. Sheldon Creed and AJ Allmendinger in row 3. Creed another heartbreaker a week ago at Darlington, looking to still get that first career Xfinity win this weekend. Ryan Truex, a winner at Daytona 2 weeks ago in the last super speedway race on the inside of row 4 for the start. Chandler Smith, who finished 2nd in that race, starts 8th today. In row number 5, it'll be Riley Herbst and Justin Allgaier. Row number 6, it's going to be Sam Mayer and Shane Van Gisbergen. Josh Williams with Ryan Sieg in row number 7. Row number 8 for Anthony Alfredo and Parker Kligerman. Kligerman's had a lot of great runs on these super speedways in the last couple of seasons. Parker Retzlaff with Brandon Jones will line up in row number 9. And then in row number 10, it's going to be Sammy Smith and Jeb Burton. Corey Heim, Lawless Allen will line up deeper in the field in row 11. Row 12 for CJ McLaughlin and Blaine Perkins. Nick Lights with Brennan Poole in row 13. Row 14 for Mason Maggio and Kyle Sieg. Matt DiBenedetto and Dawson Cram towards the rear of the field in row 15. Behind them in row 16 will be Morgan Baird and David Starr. Ryan Ellis and Leland Honeyman will line up in row 17. Row 18 for Jeremy Clements and Kyle Weatherman. And then Garrett Smithley rounds out our field today in 37th, making up our full 37-car field for today's race. He's all alone in row 19. Should see an interesting race here today. We don't see the pack stay together very well at Atlanta with this Xfinity Series package on their restrictor plate side of things. Again, this is a modified super speedway package. This is actually the same package that was ran at both Michigan and Indianapolis this season. Not the packages we would usually see at Daytona and Talladega. It's kind of a hybrid where the horsepower is restricted a little bit lower, but having the intermediate aero package. So the draft is obviously important at this Atlanta Motor Speedway configuration compared to obviously the prior renditions of Atlanta Motor Speedway, but it's not going to be on the forefront of having to create potential upset winners. I think it's less likely that that would happen here today, but still never know. Anything could happen in a full race. Drop of the green flag for this one. I will unmute the TV and we will get the USA Network broadcast booth in until the drop of the green flag.
Side the mayor, Jeff Burton, and our crew chief, Steve Letard, Rick Allen with you. So lap 1 of this race will be the first time that there'll be more than one car on this racetrack this weekend. What can we expect?
Chaos, in a word. You know, it's a super speedway, as you said,
but it's on a 1.5-mile racetrack, Steve. This is not a great big wide racetrack. It is a small 1.5 miles, but you're wide open to the throttle, having to make things happen.
The space is what multiplies the speed. We aren't going to see max speeds of the year, but we're still going to be fast, 180 or 185 miles an hour. But now let's take those speeds and condense them. This is like taking any sport and condensing the arena, and that's what these drivers have to do. Where a normal speedway is to be breaking up a few hundred feet, here it'll be tens of feet. That's what they're splitting up in these corners. There's just not a lot of room, yet the drivers somehow find space for 3 and even 4 wide action.
Yeah, can't wait to see that. All right, let's take a look at the starting lineup. Familiarity at the front of this pack because Jesse Love has won the pole once again. Taylor Gray will make up the other car on row 1. All right, Jeff, let's dial up the driver of the 39, Ryan C.
Ryan, guys in the booth, you with us?
All right,
Good morning. Thanks for you. Hey, Ryan, it's the guys up in the booth. You got us?
Yep, got you.
All right, this is a hometown race for you, but also a lot on the line, trailing Sammy Smith by a few points. Can you make it happen today? If you can, how are you going to do it?
I think we can make it happen. Just got to pick the right lanes, and hopefully we can see wide race. It's not like we call it in the spring, and we'll get ready to try to get as many stage points and try to find ourselves with some track position and try to win this thing for Ziaps and Ford and in front of the hometown crowd. So we're going to put on a good show, make it exciting. Hopefully we get some wide racing going here in Atlanta.
And we talk about super speedway racing, but this is on a much smaller track. How intense does that make it when it does get 2 and 3 wide?
Super intense there. They're a handful to trying to run too wide. Here it's going to be a handful, but I'm up for the challenge and ready to do it. Get after it today.
Thank you. Good luck.
Love being able to chat with the driver right before he takes the green flag for a few more stories before that green flag comes out. Let's go to Marty.
Rick, when AJ Allmendinger has been full-time in the Xfinity Series, he normally has a few wins in the bank by this time of the season. This year, they don't have that. In fact, he has 0 playoff points. But the Dinger told me he's not going to force things to get playoff points over the next 3 weeks. His focus, just keep developing the newfound pace they have at Colleague over the last few weeks. But considering how good they were at Daytona a few weeks ago, you can expect the 16 to be very aggressive coming from the back of the pack today, Dave.
A lot of eyes will be on the 7 of Justin Allgaier. He's won here at Atlanta before, but on the old configuration. So how risky will he be? He is the regular season leader by just 28 points over Cole Custer with 3 races remaining. Does he jeopardize that to go for more? He needs bonus points for the playoffs. Will he go for that? Starting 10th today, Allgaier will have some decisions to make, Kim.
Well, although Chandler Smith already has 2 wins this season and is locked into the playoffs, this team is desperate to find some consistency as they prepare for a title run. Crew Chief Jeff Mendering admitted the team had been in a little bit of a funk most of the summer and hasn't had the finishes they feel like they deserve. He told me they need to build confidence back into the team before the playoffs start, and the best way to do that, well, is to win. He finished second in the race here earlier this year and second a couple of weeks at Daytona. We'll see if today is the day for the 81.
Thanks, Kim. Marty just mentioned AJ Allmendinger doesn't have any playoff points up to this point in the season. The regular season just 3 races away from being concluded. You take a look at the playoff standings. Allgaier has been dominant when it comes to grabbing playoff points. He has won 13 stages already in 2 races. That's how he got to his 23 points. Let's listen in to the 8 radio. A little pep talk as they're just above the playoff line, cut line.
All right, everybody. Thank y'all for the hard work this week. There's no doubt in my mind we're the most prepared team out here. Most focused, most hungry. Here at the end, looking. Yep, 10-4. Thank you guys for all the hard work getting switched over. Execute our plan we talked about throughout the week. Have a good day.
Execute the plan. You know, that's easier said than done. And, you know, I spent some time with the spotters up top of the roof before the race, and that's a really important role on this race. Is the spotter needs to understand that plan also so he can help the driver execute it, Dave.
See Sammy Smith now coming off of pit road, having checked the speed of pit road with his team, including new crew chief Philip Bell, he was swapped over from the 9 car of Brandon Jones at Junior Motorsports this week. I asked Philip if he'd ever worked with Sammy before. He said, nope, this is the first time. And our goal is to put Sammy in the best position to make the playoffs and then to have a championship run. Remember, he starts just 10 points above the cut line with 3 to go, Marty.
Well, Dave, for the other side of that, yes, a complete swap of teams between the 8 and the 9 at Junior Motorsports. Except for the spotter. Josh Williams is still the spotter for Brandon Jones. He told me I wanted to make sure that I kept that relationship, especially here at Atlanta. But a complete team swap. Remember, next year, Brandon Jones, it was announced this week, officially moving on to Joe Gibbs Racing, Kim.
Well, there's always so much talk when it comes to super speedways about Austin Hill, but if we look the last 5 races at Atlanta, who has earned the second most points to him? Well, that would be Riley Herbst. His team's so confident about his abilities here at this style racetrack. In fact, when I talked to crew chief Davin Restivo, he didn't hesitate. He said Riley is one of the best in the garage when it comes to this style of racing. This team just has to get consistent over the next 3 weeks before the playoffs start. Their goal, a top 5 run, but what would be better? A win to earn those 5 extra bonus points into the playoffs.
And momentum. It's another thing that winning here at Atlanta or Watkins Glen or Bristol gives you as you get ready to start the playoffs. Steve, let's talk about the numbers here in this race.
Well, we've talked a lot about the style of racing, but the race itself, 40 laps stage 1, 40 laps stage 2, that final stage, 83 laps, fuel window 75 to 80. In the spring, it was all about saving enough gas to make that final stage without a pit stop. I assume we will see the same thing today.
7 of Justin Allgaier, we just talked about him being at the top of the list as far as playoff standings. He's also at the top of the list as far as regular season points. Let's listen into his radio and hear his pep talk.
Been a lot. I know style racing requires a lot of effort, a lot of work, got a hot rod. So let's go have ourselves a good day on pit road, and I'll get back what we lost last week. And we're going to go forward, and I appreciate you guys.
He calls it the Mayo Missile.
The Mayo Missile, I love it.
It's sticking with me. That's a good name, huh?
That is a good nickname for the car. I like that. All right, so field obviously has been 2x2. They will be going green this time by, again, pole sitter Jesse Love will lead us to the green. He has elected the outside lane in front of his teammate Austin Hill. The 2 RCR cars will line up nose to tail there. And stage splits for the race today, 40, 40, and 83. So again, stages 1 and 2, each 40 laps. Final stage, 83. So they won't have to pit for fuel or tires at all in the first 2 stages, but they will in the final stage. They'll pit during the stage ends, or obviously depending on how the cautions play out in this one as well. But here we go. Green flags in the air, and we're underway in the Focused Health 250 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. On the opening lap of the race, 2x2 off of turn 2 down the back straightaway. Outside lane with more of a surge than the inside, which we tend to see in the Xfinity races here at this reconfigured Atlanta Motor Speedway. 3 wide move up the middle to get back into the outside lane, it looked like by the 19 of Taylor Gray. And still 3 wide in the back half of the top 10 entering turn 1. Parker Kligerman in the middle groove getting into the corner. Now slides into the outside as the bottom is completely broken up. Ryan Truex in the 20 car, the lead car on the inside. Still a gaggle of cars 2 and 3 wide on the back straightaway entering turn 3 on the second lap. Funneling down to 2x2 into the corner. 1 car misses the inside of the track. That's Lawless Allen. Almost wiped out the car to his outside. He's able to get back down to the bottom. Lost a lot of momentum. And starts to go backwards. Jesse Love leads the first couple of laps in this race. Currently scoring on lap 3. So Love has led the first 2. Single file through most of the top 10 positions as they train around the top side of the racetrack in the early going. Big backup getting into turn 3 by Chandler Smith. Everybody behind him has to get out of the gas as we have about an 8-car breakaway at the front of the field. Top 2, Smith, a little bit of a gap between him and the RCR Chevys in front of him. Smith might have gotten a little tight getting into the corner. He's going to peek out into the clean air in the center of turns 3 and 4, and as a result, he's going to lose his positioning on the outside. Justin Allgaier gets by him initially on the back straightaway. Only one position was lost, though, out of Chandler Smith as he falls to 4th, and he's right back in line, finding his teammate Taylor Gray and Sheldon Creed just behind him. So 3 Chevys followed by 3 Toyotas, and then 2 Fords and 2 more Chevys round out the top 10 through the first 5 laps of the race. Again, they will not have to pit for fuel purposes in stage 1. It's only 40 laps here. Sam Mayer's still trying to pick up positions just outside the top 10. He's side by side with Josh Williams. No drafting help on the inside of the racetrack for him. But he'll get back up in front of his teammate Sammy Smith. A little bit of a hole there. Very difficult to make passes. Again, this is a hybrid super speedway package for the Xfinity Series. It's the same exact package they ran in Indianapolis and Michigan in the late summer races, where it is an intermediate aero package, but restrictor plate horsepower package that we would see on the super speedways. Hybrid package for a hybrid drafting style racetrack. And that is going to lead to more strung out racing today than what we would usually see on super speedways. That has been the case for these Atlanta races for the Xfinity Series over the last couple seasons at this reconfiguration. Top 8 positions, about 0.8 of a second separated from each other. A little bit of a gap, though, between 8th and 9th on the leaderboard. As SVG's about 0.4 of a second, maybe half a second off of Cole Custer for 8th, with Parker Kligerman just behind him. Circuiting lap 8, Jesse Love has led them all so far. He led all but about a dozen laps total in that race earlier this season at Atlanta. Again, ran out of fuel coming to the green in the final overtime restart. His teammate Austin Hill was able to steal the win. And between both of these RCR cars, they've won 3 of the 4 super speedway races this season. Austin Hill, the first 2 at Daytona and Atlanta, and Jesse Love's only win coming at Talladega. So this is a very strong point for them to try to go to victory lane here today. Could be the best cars in the field. Personally, my pick is Jesse Love to win. He had more pace in practice and qualifying than that of his teammate Austin Hill, which was really the case at Atlanta back in the spring as well. But the fuel mileage took Love out of the win late. I did take Hill to win that Atlanta race earlier this year, but taking Jesse Love here today. I took him to win at Dega when he won there also, so I'll take it. I went out on the limb taking Parker Kligerman at Daytona last week, or 2 weeks ago, and came close with that. I thought about potentially taking him again here today, but I just trust the RCR cars more at Atlanta. It seems like it's going to be harder for these Xfinity Series cars to make passes in the field, which is definitely the case here in the early going for most of these drivers. Incident-free through the first 10 laps of the race. Sammy Smith and Sam Mayer still backed up in traffic. They are currently running just barely inside the top 20 and obviously off the lead pack. Ryan Sieg dropping off the pace. He's got a problem.
On the front stretch.
I don't see any damage. So talking about electrical wire off inside the car. So obviously something he feels he can see from the dash where he can see the issue. Was running 7.
And look how Ryan Sieg has now fallen below the top 12 positions. He's 30 points back.
But no power just off the exit of turn 2. I'd be shocked if this doesn't bring out yellow.
Now, he's not going to make it all the way back around. There's an access road through 3 and 4, but he's not even going to get to that. Anthony Alfredo's on pit road in the 5.
He has a flat tire. I think there was wall contact with the right side of the 5. That's disappointing for the 5 because the car's going to come out. Alfredo's car just got tight behind those other guys. Just couldn't keep it out of the wall. We talk about handling and how it matters, and that's a great example.
So the 5 on pit road, but it was the 39 that's not able to continue that brought this caution out. So hometown Ryan Sieg struggling in the 39 early here at Atlanta.
Sieg's car has stalled on the backstretch right before the entrance of turn 3, and that will bring out our first caution of the day at lap 12. Jesse Love has led every lap so far from the pole. Austin Hill in second after starting 4th. Justin Allgaier 3rd. Chandler Smith 4th, and Taylor Gray is in 5th. That rounds out the top 5 as of this yellow. I highly doubt we're going to see any pit stops here. I would think that we're still a little bit outside the window to make it to the end of stage 2 for fuel purposes by pitting now. But I would imagine we'll see some split strategy with cars at the very tail end of the lead lap trying to get ahead on strategy and fuel mileage by pitting under this caution, but doubt anybody at the front's going to give up their track position. So unfortunately, with Sieg stopped on the racetrack, it's going to put them multiple laps down. Hopefully they can get that issue fixed. We'll take a look at the Xfinity Series point standings coming into the day. And as far as those regular season standings go, for the playoff field at least, Sammy Smith came in as the last driver above the cutoff line on points. He was only 10 points to the good over Ryan Sieg coming into this race today. So Sieg on the bubble, minus 10. Definitely in a tough spot here with mechanical issues in the early laps, I should say, of this race. And he's definitely losing some valuable points. May put him in a must-win situation these next couple of weeks if he's going to want to make it into the 12-man playoff field. The drivers locked into the playoffs with wins in the Xfinity Series. We've got 3 wins for Shane Van Gisbergen, 2 apiece for Sam Mayer, Austin Hill, Chandler Smith, and Justin Allgaier. 1 win for Cole Custer, Riley Herbst, Jesse Love. Drivers above the cutoff line on points without a win would be Sheldon Creed, AJ Allmendinger, Parker Kligerman, and Sammy Smith. And again, Sammy Smith only 10 points to the good coming into this race today. Parker Kligerman also not all that much further ahead of him. A little bit more of a comfortable gap for him coming into the day, but still only plus 44 points for Kligerman. But obviously, the problems with Ryan Sieg definitely going to take a little bit of pressure off, I would imagine, for this 48 team. Other drivers that are more than likely in a must-win situation to make the playoffs just behind Ryan Sieg in the point standings would include Brandon Jones, Anthony Alfredo, and Brennan Poole. That would be 13th through 16th on the playoff grid. Per usual, you can vote for who you think is going to win this race today in the chat poll. We'll go over that in a matter of moments. We got pit stops going on.
Goodyear tires and take on 2 more. We'll see if we can find out exactly why the 8 came down this early, Hardy.
Yeah, a lot of cars deciding to come down here with 26 to go in stage 1, including AJ Allmendinger, who said it was, quote, miserable coming from the back. He made it up to 22nd for AJ. He said he thinks tires are actually going to matter a little bit more. Stevie said the track is a lot slicker than he remembers it being in February.
Well, the other thing from here is I don't think you need to pit at the end of the stage. You can run all the way to the end of stage 2 if you'd like. So you can try to work some strategy and try to rotate to the front.
So again, those that pitted were all outside the top 10. Nobody at the very front of the field came onto pit road, so they'll maintain with their track position. Slightly fresher tires for those further back. And tires, I would say, would matter more here at this Atlanta configuration compared to what we would see at Daytona and Talladega. So we'll have to wait and see how that is all going to pan itself out. We'll end up restarting with a little bit more than 20 laps to go in stage 1 from where we are right now. We'll highlight the battle for the regular season championship standings as well. It's pretty much down to 2 drivers in these final 3 races, Justin Allgaier and Cole Custer. Allgaier comes in with a 28-point lead over Custer. Lost some points last week in the Darlington race, but overall it's been a pretty good season for both drivers. Custer actually had a nearly 1 race lead in the standings just about 4 races ago. He had a 55-point lead 4 races ago. That evaporated, and he was minus 33 going into last week. He gains 5 on Allgaier by outscoring him in the stages and finishing relatively close to him in the finishing order. But going to need much better improvement today and over the next few weeks to try to cut that lead back down on the 17. Ryan Sieg back onto pit road, but it does seem like the car is under power once again. Unfortunately, though, for Sieg, he is a few laps down. It looks like 2 laps down for Ryan Sieg. Good news is we have stage 1 coming to an end pretty soon. I would imagine, well, it's going to be tough for him to get the free pass then, actually. Because Anthony Alfredo is also a lap down. He was on pit road When the caution flag came out, his right front tire was flat after scuffing the wall on the exit of turn 2 a few laps before the caution. So Alfredo's 1 lap down, Sega's 2 laps down. Those are the only 2 cars off the lead lap in the first 15 laps of this race today. Actually working lap 16 right now. Our leaderboard's about a lap behind at the moment, but lap 16 coming to lap 17 at the start-finish line. And we will restart with 24 laps left in stage 1. And I would imagine Jesse Love outside of row 1 for the restart again. Outside lane definitely going to be the preferred lane here. Top 3. Check that. Top 5 it looks like. Top 5 in the running order all took the outside lane for this restart. Sheldon Creed, who was in 6th, will be the first car on the bottom. And then Cole Custer, Parker Kligerman, Shane Van Gisbergen also on the bottom behind the 18. Jesse Love gets him going. Green flag back in the air. Inside lane gets a good launch on the restart, but then they just lose the numbers by the time they get to the back straightaway off turn 2. Nose to tail, those top 3 cars on the outside nearly pushing each other simultaneously as the nose out in front for the 2 on the back straightaway. 21 still pushing the 2. Custer finds a hole in the outside between the 7 and the 81. And Creed's going to shove himself up in line as well. So it actually worked out for Creed and Custer. Gained a few positions by jumping to the bottom. They'll be 4th and 5th off the exit of turn 2. Kligerman now the lead car on the inside. He's about the 7th or 8th car back in line. Jesse Love continues to lead here at Atlanta. And off the restart now, we have Austin Hill a 10th of a second back in 2nd. Justin Allgaier 2/10 back in 3rd. Sheldon Creed 3/10 back in 4th. And Cole Custer 4/10 off the lead in 5th. We'll be working lap number 19 this time by.
It looked like he got a lot of help behind him. Shane Van Gisbergen in the 97, trying to get to his back bumper.
And so watch what happens right here. The 48 on the bottom of the racetrack. They just are so much faster on the straights. Now, when they get to the corner, he's running the shorter way around. It breaks even, gains a little bit on corner exit, but then down on the straightaway, here they go.
It's like Austin Cram in the 74 has an issue.
Making it lays out. All the ships are fine, but got off and wanted to do it better.
Sounds like an engine issue for the 74. We'll see if it can make it back around. Middle of the backstretch right here is the field. Is in the middle of 1 and 2. Once again, organize the top 12 to 15 cars, single file, right around the top. I think some of this is patience. Some of this is teammates at the front.
Remember in qualifying earlier today, we saw 3 cars that drove the 32-second mark in qualifying. And now everyone is running mid-31-second laps as they work together around this 1.5-mile track. Austin Hill in the 21, running 2nd right now, Kim.
Yeah, and Austin Hill so good at these tracks, understands what you need to do to hold off the field, and understands how important teammates are. Here was his plan for he and Jesse Love after that first run. Take a listen. So again, there you heard Austin spotter Derek Nealon talking about how he'll work with Brandon Benesh, Jesse's spotter, the 2 of them working together, Dave, to try and hold off that 7 of Justin Allgaier.
Hold off Allgaier. Some saying he ought to just chill out right now. That might have been the driver right in front of Allgaier of Jesse Love back there. But Jesse running in the lead position, the 2 car. He told me this morning, I think what I've learned over the course as a 7 now coming down, Allgaier's got it. Rick, you take it.
Big run for the 7 of Allgaier. He got to the inside of that 2. We've seen him be very strong running behind the 21. Can he complete the pass on his own?
That's the problem. See, he did not clear Jesse Love. Now, Austin Hill's going to try to fill this hole. He gets there. How far back will the 7 car go?
Will there be an opening? Will anyone go with the 7 of Allgaier? Right now, he's on an island.
Well, I agree with what Jeff said. I think he has proven that he's one of the best cars. Just the pace of the 7 and the driving, how he's able to pull to the rear bumper of the car in front. So all of these cars want to eliminate him. As the 7 slides up right here, he's going to try to slide in line, unable to do it. This is impressive by the 7, though, continuing to battle. They're starting to create.
Allgaier hasn't led a lap yet. A little contact crossing the start-finish line between the 2 and the 7 that time. They went into the angle of the second dog leg while the 21 was bump drafting the 2. And it looked like the 7 and the 2 car came door to door. Still not able to make the clearance, so off the exit of turn 2, all the way down the backstretch again, more side drafting going on for Justin Allgaier. Slide job from the bottom of the track to the top. Allgaier is clear. Love in line in second behind him. Custer pulling out of line, trying to make a pass for position as well on Sheldon Creed for 4th. First lap led of the day for Justin Allgaier. And a new leader for the first time as well, as Jesse Love led the first 23 laps to start this race from the pole. More cars starting to form on the bottom now behind Custer. Brandon Jones is there, as well as Riley Herbst. And one other car, looks like Sam Mayer in the 1. And a couple of those cars just hit pit road. And they have fresher tires, so they're really trying to make up that ground on the bottom of the racetrack. And they did a great job doing so, even with only 3 cars compared to the many more cars that were on the outside. Herbst is going to give up the bottom, though, and move into the outside lane with his teammate Cole Custer. The 18 moved down to the bottom, left a hole on the outside, while the 9 and the 1 are still down on the bottom lane at the moment. 13 laps to go at stage 1 this time by. Really goes to show how much speed is in that 7 car of Justin Allgaier, that he was practically able to make the pass on both RCR Chevys with the draft in the outside by himself. Brandon Jones got a piece of the wall a little bit ago, showing a replay of that. The exit of turn 2. Like him and Taylor Gray nearly making contact in the center of the corner. Yeah, 13 laps to go. Don't forget that the USA Network's coverage of this weekend's Atlanta races for both Xfinity and Cup will be full screen, not full screen, but it will be flag to flag coverage during green flag action. There will not be a full screen commercial break during green flag action of both the Xfinity and the Cup races at Atlanta here this weekend. So as they cut the commercial right now, it is going to be side by side as we continue the live commentary coverage in this race. Lap number 29 of 163 total. We'll go through the full field running order in the early going. Again, Justin Allgaier leads. Jesse Love sits in second. Austin Hill third. Sheldon Creed fourth. And Cole Custer in fifth. Make that Chandler Smith in fifth at the start-finish line the last time by. Cole Custer's now in 6th place. Riley Herbst 7th. Sam Mayer 8th. Brandon Jones 9th. And Taylor Gray is 10th. 11th for Josh Williams. Ryan Truex 12th. Corey Heim 13th. 14th for Jeb Burton. Shane Van Gisbergen in 15th. Blaine Perkins 16th. 17th AJ Allmendinger. Parker Kligerman 18th. Brennan Poole 19th. And Parker Retzlaff is 20th. Jeremy Clements 21st. Nick Lights 22nd. Sammy Smith 23rd. Matt DiBenedetto 24th. Wallace Allen 25th. Kyle Weatherman 26th. Garrett Smithley 27th. Kyle Sieg 28th. CJ McLaughlin 29th. And Leland Honeyman is 30th. Ryan Ellison 31st. Mason Maggio 32nd. David Starr 33rd. Morgan Baird 34th. Anthony Alfredo first car lap down in 35th. Ryan Sieg 2 laps down in 36th. Dawson Cram had an engine issue right off this last restart. He is off the track, currently 13 laps down in 37th. And rounds out our 37 car field. 9 laps to go in stage 1. You're listening live on KRC to the Focus Health 250 at Atlanta. Sam Mayer continuously trying to pass cars inside the top 10 positions down to the bottom of the racetrack with not a lot of help. It's a little more help in the center of the corner this last time with Draft in front of him. 18 pulled down to the bottom, and that left a little bit of a gap behind him on the outside. He was able to get in front of his teammate Brandon Jones. Austin Hill gets by his teammate for 2nd place through turns 1 and 2, meanwhile, towards the front of the field. Hill moves into P2 again, and now Jesse Love's back to 3rd. trying to time the runs out on the straightaways and trying to desperately clear a car to the outside by the exit of the corner before losing too much ground in what is mostly single file racing with slingshots kind of corner after corner at this point, especially with drivers up in the top 10 positions. Allgaier goes to the bottom of the racetrack trying to cover Austin Hill to prevent from a potential big run incoming that last corner through 1 and 2. 6 laps to go, this time by for the number 7 in stage 1. And a little bit more of a gap built up between second and third now as Jesse Love in third place. Lost a bit of ground that last lap to Austin Hill. Hill backing up to now Justin Allgaier. Allgaier creating a gap between first and second into turn 1 this time around. Allgaier gains a lot of that time back in the center of 1 and 2, but stays on the outside lane in the draft behind Allgaier. As he continues to try to close the 2, it's closer to his back bumper. Now going to keep the momentum up a little bit more this time around than what it was the last lap. A car length off the lead at the start-finish line with 5 to go in stage 1 is Austin Hill behind race leader Justin Allgaier. Can Allgaier get the stage win? He's had more than any other driver in the Xfinity Series this season, trying to add another to that total and continue to build that bridge on the regular season points battle for the championship on the regular season side of things over Cole Custer. Custer sits in 8th currently. 4 to go. Stage 1. Now a gap starting to build up between 4th and 5th place on the leaderboard. Riley Herbst moved his way to 4th recently. Sheldon Creed still back in 5th. Few tenths of a second off of Herbst in front of him. Hill trying to get a little more clean air perhaps on the outside of the racetrack. But in doing so, his teammate Jesse Love gets underneath him, and they're side-by-side down the back straightaway for second into turn 3. Herbst stays to the outside with the 21. The 2 has the 18 behind him, but not directly behind him. Love's still side-by-side, though, with Austin Hill, 3 to go. And if they stay side-by-side, they're not going to be able to get a run, either one of them, on the 7 of Allgaier. Hill's going to need a big push down the straightaway from Riley Herbst, who is now all over his back bumper off of turn 2. And down the backstretch doesn't get the push, but is able to continue the momentum up high enough to clear the 2 car. And now Love is side-by-side for 3rd on Riley Herbst. Near contact, center of the corner through 3 and 4. Love got really loose on the bottom. Herbst aggressive with the side draft on his right rear corner panel. Maybe took a little air off the rear spoiler. The 2 hangs on. And a lot of side-by-side action going on for 5th as Sheldon Creed gets his spot back over Brandon Jones. And Sam Mayer follows him to 6th. Herbst now to 3rd. Final lap of the stage, this time by at the line. Remember, Riley won with this package at Indianapolis earlier this season, so he's showing some speed now late in stage 1. Working and carving his way through the front of the field. About a 2/10 of a second margin at the start-finish line the last time by. Justin Allgaier continues to try to keep his gap over Hill. Hill with a big run in the center of the corner, gets to the inside. Side-by-side down the back straightaway for the lead on the final lap of stage 1. Aggressive side draft by Hill on the 7. The 2 on the inside of the 98 behind him. 2x2 through the front few positions now. Love loses a bunch of spots off the exit of turn 4. He's split 3 wide middle. Front of the field. Herbst is going to go with the 7. The 21 with the shortest route to the bottom. And Allgaier holds on to win stage 1 by 12 1/1000ths of a second over Austin Hill at the line. Photo finish for stage 1 here at Atlanta. Justin Allgaier wins the first stage. Austin Hill 2nd. Riley Herbst 3rd. Sheldon Creed 4th. Jesse Love 5th. Sam Mayer 6th. Brandon Jones 7th. Cole Custer 8th. Chandler Smith 9th. And Taylor Gray 10th. 2 lost so much momentum off the exit of the corner, and Herbst had a decision to go with either the 7 or the 21. He went with the 7, and that was just enough for Justin Allgaier to win stage 1 here today at Atlanta. We look at the stage win total for Justin Allgaier. This is his 14th stage win of the season. Again, by far the most in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He has almost as many stage wins as he does top 10 finishes on the year now. He's got 15 top 10s, 14 stage wins. And he might be able to match that total if he can go on to win stage 2 here today. Next closest in the Xfinity Series on stage wins is Chandler Smith, who has 5. And again, that is building the gap over the regular season points battle as it continues to go on. Again, this is the third to last race of the regular season. Watkins Glen, Bristol, the last 2 races of the regular season for the Xfinity Series the next couple of weeks. So congratulations to Allgaier winning stage 1. One step closer to maybe winning the race at the end. We'll have to wait and see. And we should be seeing pit stops for everybody who did not hit pit road during the stage 1 break. And more than likely, even if they did hit pit road, they'll probably still taking fresh tires with about an extra 24 laps on them. That will make a difference here at this slicker Atlanta version of a super speedway. So with Allgaier in the lead, we'll take another break. Again, pit stops on the other side. You're listening live to the NASCAR Xfinity Series Focus Health 250 on KRC at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Caution is out for the stage end at lap 40. This is our second caution of the race. The only caution for incident we had in stage 1 was back on lap 12 when the 39 of Ryan Sieg had an electrical issue and had not made his way back to pit road. Stalled out on the backstretch. Fell 2 laps down. Team went to work on the race car. Seems like they have gotten the issue resolved. And they are back on the track. But again, 2 laps down for Ryan Sieg. Free pass goes to Anthony Alfredo at the stage end in 35th. So Alfredo back on the lead lap. And Dawson Cram, who had the engine issue earlier in the stage, is still off the track. 24 laps down and counting in the garage in 37th last place.
Rewards. You're watching the Focus Health 250 here on USA, and winner of stage 1 is Allgaier. Mentioned 14 stage wins. That is the most stage wins ever in a season. And Allgaier still has 9 races to go and a couple more stages even in this race.
When we talk about during qualifying and, what's the strategy? Well, the strategy is doing this right here, just leading laps. There's not a lot of strategic calls from on top of the pit box in the Xfinity Series with the limited tire count. You kind of hit at the end of each stage. So he's just good enough in each stage to lead a lot of laps.
Let's head down to the Peacock pit box and check in with DJ and KP. All right, guys, we knew it was going to be exciting, and the end of stage 1 is separated by 100th of a second.
Yeah, it's crazy. They talked about it in pre-race. We heard Marty bring it up. Can you have a plan? They had a plan. Austin Hill and Jesse Love ran together the whole time. And where's the 98 come from? Where does Hertz come from to help Allgaier win the race?
Yeah, remember that he won at Indianapolis with this very package that they are running here today. Riley Hertz did. So it's got a fast race car. Yeah, I know there's a race going on here, and we're going to cover this. But, guys, did you see, as these drivers started complaining about the handling of their cars in the motorhome lot, all the drivers went out from the Cup Series trying to find their crew chiefs to say, what the heck are we going to do tomorrow?
There was a mass exodus of buses over there. We're seeing the field make their way onto pit road now. Pit road's open.
Pretty interesting pit road here. You enter actually in turn 3, come all the way around on the apron. The reason they do that is because if you have to pit on the green, the track is not wide enough to have green flag pit stops and not having to slow down in the middle of the corner and causing a wreck.
And let's check in with Dave.
It's now 24 playoff points for Justin Allgaier. Those are the ones that go through the first couple of rounds with a playoff driver. You got 2 right side Goodyear tires, 2 cans of fuel, and then they're going to take all 3 rows of tape off that front of that Camaro to cool the car down, Kim.
Riley Hertz in the middle says a little loose, but wow, it is fun. I just need a little more right rear grip. As you see Austin Hill on the bottom, he said he was out of control getting into 3, had to completely bail out, way too edgy, can't make quick reactions like he wants and keep the car underneath him. As both of those cars getting 4 fresh Goodyear tires, snow fuel, Marty.
Quoting Sheldon Creed here, Cammy said it's super sketchy, dirty and dirty air. It's bad, bad, bad. I have no trust in the rear tires. And then Sam McCauley, she said, do you want 2 tires? He said, absolutely not. No way. I need 4 tires here for the end of that run.
Fast 40 laps. Allgaier's holds his position, but surprisingly, the 21 of Auckland Hill drops a couple spots. That's normally very strong on pit row. We expected it to be nose to tail and very tight, but 100th of a second separating the top two at the end of stage one.
All right, so again, Justin Allgaier, your stage one winner, wins the race off of pit road during the stage one break. And the first pit stops we've seen for the leaders at the front of the field. 4 tire stops, topping off on fuel as well. No major gains or losses in the running order. Interesting to see if anybody may have stayed out of the pits. No word on that at the moment. Again, we did have a caution a little earlier in the stage. I still think that those guys are outside the fuel window to make it to the end of stage 2. Even if you pitted during that first caution, but we'll see if somebody tries to stretch it. Doesn't appear that that is the case. Leader gets to the start-finish line every lap, so waiting to see exactly what the order is going to be next time they get to the line, which will be lap 46. Going to give some shout-outs to those of you in the chat watching the stream here in the early going. Bronny20 Forever, Delbert Wilson, Frank Powers, Mike G, Jeff Henson, JoJo, Billy's Libraries and Arts, Rod Brown, Villanor, Tim Fowler, NASCAR Penske Cup Series Racing, Steve Reed, and many others. Welcome into the stream, everybody. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Our goal is to get to 100 likes on this Xfinity Series race broadcast. And subscribe for more daily NASCAR contents, live commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend for Truck Xfinity Cup races as well as Cup practice qualifying. Do my own commentary and mix in with the actual race broadcast here and there so we don't miss on some key points. Some breaking updates throughout the course of the race, especially with pit stops. And then obviously some content during the week as well, all NASCAR oriented.
NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Progressive. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit Progressive.com. And by Toyota. Let's go places. You get downtown Atlanta. Bustling areas there. We're a bit south of that. You're at Atlanta Motor Speedway as we're getting ready for the start of stage 2. As you see, Allgaier trying to pass the pace car here. Can't do that. Dave.
Rick, let's hear what they were talking about under caution.
Ready to go back down. Great stage, buddy. Got stage 1.
Crew Chief Jim Pullman encouraging his driver, Justin Allgaier, go get stage 2. Do you guys like that aggressive strategy for the 7?
Well, they only took 2 tires under the caution, not 4. So that was an aggressive side. We'll see how it works because Allmendinger, Sammy Smith, a couple cars stayed out on older tires.
Yeah.
And much like earlier, Jeff, they all chose the top, right? So that gave Allgaier the ability to pull all the way to the inside row 1, even though I think he was basically the 3rd car in line.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of turn in the race car Allgaier has with those right side tires only. With that being the case, a lot of other teams behind him obviously took 4. 2 cars did stay out of the pits. That was AJ Allmendinger, Sammy Smith. They both line up on the outside lane, as inside of row 1 will be Allgaier in that number 7. Green flag back in the air, lap 8 of stage 2. Again, another 40-lap stage for the second one, just like stage 1. Final stage still to be 83 laps. Field is 2x2 up the exit of turn 2 as we begin this first green flag lap of the second stage. Allmendinger almost clear on the backstretch, but the 7 of Allgaier continues to side draft. Custer 3 wide to the bottom underneath Brandon Jones and Riley Herbst, trying to pass 2 cars in one corner. Seems to be clear, and he is. 3 wide still behind him. Creed trying to follow that lane that Custer left open on the inside. Creed has his teammate Ryan Truex following behind him. Brandon Jones still in the sucker hole right in the middle lane. Creed clear, Truex clear. The 9 is starting to drop backwards on this restart. He was inside of row 2, and now he's already outside the top 10. AJ Allmendinger leads his first laps of the race as he's at the front of the field, and Allgaier was able to slip into the second place position. Initially, it looks like Allgaier may still be on the bottom. Yeah, Allgaier did not get to the top. Sammy Smith fills in second, Custer third. Allgaier still the lead car in the bottom lane and continues to lose positions. Freight train by the cars on the outside of him. Trying to find a hole into the outside. As soon as he gets a chance, he'll pull up, but he hasn't had that chance yet. Maybe going to try to split between the RCR Chevys of Austin Hill and Jesse Love, but just not big enough of a gap to do so. Custer going for second on Sammy Smith on the attack on the exit of turn 4. Side by side for that position. It may help Allgaier in the draft. He might be a little bit too far behind to get a big run, though. Slight contact between Custer and Smith as Custer tried to nose his way into that outside lane once again behind Sammy Smith. Kind of tagged that left rear corner panel just a bit. That could have been gnarly. Allgaier continues to fight on the bottom. Now he's underneath Austin Hill. Looks like the top 5 positions clear. One car in the wall. Ryan Truex, middle of 3 and 4. Everybody evades around him. He loses several positions on the outside. Might have gotten tight getting off into turn 3. Ended up in the fence. Multiple cars get around him as they escape by to the inside. Showing the replay of Custer making that contact with Sammy Smith. Almost hooked him going into turn 1. And a replay of Truex, and definitely got up out of the groove and into the fence. It's weird, too, because it looked like he was actually in cleaner air to the outside of those running behind him, but that could have been marbles at that area of the racetrack running that close to the wall as well. Might not be rubbered in yet. Either way, lost some grip. Slow car down to the bottom of the racetrack, getting lapped off of turn 2. That's CJ McLaughlin in the 07. He's a couple laps down. Ryan Sieg still positioned ahead of him in the running order, so if we are to see another caution or two, Sieg will start to get his laps back after falling behind early. Again, he came in minus 10 points below the playoff cut line on Sammy Smith, so he desperately needs to get back on the lead lap, especially Sammy Smith running where he's at, which is currently second place. Top 10, last time by at the start-finish line. AJ Allmendinger in the lead, Sammy Smith second, Cole Custer third, Riley Herbst fourth, Sam Mayer fifth, Austin Hill sixth, Justin Allgaier 7th, Jesse Love 8th, Sheldon Creed 9th, and Shane Van Gisbergen is in 10th. Lap 15 of Stage 2. Allmendinger has led every lap under green in Stage 2. Justin Allgaier has led 19 total in the race. Jesse Love still led the most laps to this point with 23. 11 laps led for Allmendinger, and Sheldon Creed led 1 lap, which I believe was during the pit stops, which took place during the first stage break. And the only cautions, lap 12 for Sieg on the racetrack stalling on the back straightaway, and lap 40, the stage 1 end. No cautions for incident in stage 2 to this point. Average race speed of 124.95 miles per hour, and just over 40 minutes from the drop of the green flag to where we're at currently on lap 55 of 163. Those are some of the race stats going on right now. Top 8 positions look to be within a second of the race lead. Mostly single file, except for Justin Allgaier still trying to put a fight on the bottom. He's doing a good job, though. I mean, it goes to show how much speed he's got in the race car. He's able to stay on the bottom by himself and not lose as many positions as a lot of other drivers in the field if they were in that same situation. Especially when you consider the fact they took right sides only on that 7 car, so he's on still the left side tires that he started the race off with 57 laps ago. Should be able to get in line on the outside behind Sheldon Creed in this lead pack. It'll actually be the last car of those in the lead pack. Austin Hill jumped to the bottom in the middle of the corner, though, and Allgaier hasn't fallen back to the outside yet behind the 18, and now he does. And Austin Hill, because of pulling out of line, loses a spot to Jesse Love, Sheldon Creed, and more than likely Allgaier as well. 3 wide, actually, off turn 2. Something happened there where Creed gets split by the 7 and the 97. 97 of Shane Van Gisbergen went with the 7 of Allgaier, pushed the 7 car past the 18. And Hill's going to lose more positions here than originally thought when he tried to make that pass for 5th on Mayer. Hill now falls all the way back to the, see here, it looks like 13th place position, 12th place position. I think the 18 just got a little arrow loose off turn 2. 7 of Allgaier was all over his rear spoiler. Well, it might have been out of the gas just before that. I think he got loose just before that and had to lift, and in the midst of lifting, then the 7 got to his inside. It looked like maybe took the air off the rear spoiler, which made it even worse. Great job by Creed not making contact with the wall, though. Car still looks to appear clean. Only lost a couple positions out of that, but could have been much worse. Especially if he had lost the handle on the car completely. Halfway through stage 2 at the line this time by. Again, AJ Allmendinger in the lead. Sammy Smith is in second. 10th of a second back is Sammy Smith. Cole Custer 2/10 back in third. Riley Herbst 4/10 back in fourth. Sam Mayer still in fifth, a half a second off the lead. Jesse Love 6/10 back in sixth. Justin Allgaier in seventh is 7/10 of a second off the lead. Those are all the cars in the lead pack. Sheldon Creed, after getting loose, is now kind of leading the second pack of cars. He's 1.3 seconds off the lead. It's about a 4/10 of a second difference between him and Jesse Love between the 7th and 8th place positions on track. Taylor Gray is a second and a half back in ninth, and Brandon Jones rounds out the top 10 at 1.8 seconds off the lead. So that's the top 10 of the running order, the intervals between them. Still continuing green, and we have not seen a caution in stage 2. 19 laps left in the second stage, 18 to go now at the line. Allgaier making a move underneath his teammate Sam Mayer. That is for 5th. And he might actually pass 2 cars here. Almost cleared the 98 of Riley Herbst. It was close. Definitely cleared the 7. Going to try to side draft the 98 enough. Couldn't do so, but he does hop into the outside lane right in front of Mayer. So after losing all those spots on the inside of row 1 from the restart, Justin Allgaier is starting to pick his way through the field. Maybe the tires start to even out a little bit on the left sides as we get further into this run as well. Lead pack starting to get a little bit more strung apart, less cars in it, keeping the momentum maybe down in the drafting speeds on the outside from where they were in the early laps of the stage as well. Side-by-side commercial break on the USA Network right now. You're listening live again to the Focus Health 250 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Justin Allgaier looking to make a pass for 3rd. Don't forget to vote for who you think is going to win the race in our chat poll. That will close at the end of stage 2. That's what we usually do here on the channel. So again, end of stage 2, we'll close the chat poll. Your voting options are between Austin Hill, Justin Allgaier, Parker Kligerman, or somebody other than those 3. And 42% of you saying somebody other than those 3 will win. 40% taking Justin Allgaier, who appears to have the fastest car on the racetrack today. Parker Kligerman in 3rd at 13% of the votes in that poll, and Austin Hill only 6% of the votes after finishing 2nd in stage 1. 86 votes total to this point. 57 likes on the stream. Again, our goal is to get to 100 there. We'll take another break and continue the live commentary coverage here to the end of stage 2 with the actual USA Network broadcast here once they come back from their side-by-side commercial break. I thought they were coming. Thought they were coming back there. Might have been one ad break too soon. One advertisement early. Austin Hill's finally cracked back into the top 10. It looks like he's trying to get by Creed for 9th currently. Still a little bit out of the lead draft. Can't make the pass on him, and it looks like he'll remain in 10th.
Grab your phone, scan that QR code, and that will allow you to sign up for the NASCAR newsletter. Stay up to speed on all the latest from the track and get your chance to win 2 tickets to a 2025 race of your choice. You can also go to NASCAR.com/race ticket promo to enter, as we see the 7 still continuing to fight for positions, although now at the 19th, that fight was for the 6th spot. Taylor Gray, Toyota onboard, looking ahead at that Hellman's number 7.
His teammate Sam Mayer ran the bottom and gave him some forward momentum and let him clear Taylor, but that is not going to work out well for Mayer.
Under 12 laps to go. Austin Hill. Remember, Hill was second in stage 1, was battling for that stage 1 win. And now Austin Hill looks like he's kind of stuck back in 9th, Kim.
Yeah, and he have not led a lap today compared to the 5 previous Atlanta races where he led a lap in each of those races. So what's wrong? Take a listen to the radio. That car just way too loose for Austin to do anything he wants to, and Marty, his team telling him they'll give him an adjustment, so he had something for the 7th in that final stage.
Out of control is the race from Austin Hill for Sheldon Creed. It's sketchy. Here, listen to this radio. So by my unofficial tally, Rick, that's like the 11th use of the word sketchy from Sheldon Creed today. But just the drivers simply at the end of these runs have their hands full.
Yeah, they really do. You can see whose cars handle well and whose don't. You know, the aggressiveness that you see from Sam Mayer, that you saw from Allgaier, that means they trust their race cars. And, you know, Hill was complaining about he just did not have enough grip. And if you can't be aggressive, and just when you see something, immediately make a move, then you are really, it's a big disadvantage. And you can see how handcuffed they are, just not being able to be aggressive. Look at the 21 right here. He got great forward momentum, but he's going to be able to clear in the corner. That was an easy.
And SVG tried to do the same move, wasn't able to completely clear Creed. And so now he's going to drop back behind the 1. And see if he can get the momentum back up. We'll see if Parker Kligerman gives him a little shove here. He stays behind him as Chandler Smith in the 81 works to the inside.
That's where it's different than Daytona and Talladega. Daytona and Talladega, Parker could have drove right in there and shoved that car forward. But in the middle of the corner here in Atlanta, especially on these older tires, you just can't get in there and really push, which is making this run by Allmendinger and Sammy Smith even more impressive. 50 laps on the tires for the first and second place car. I actually think the 00 and the 98 are patiently biding their time with 7 to go. They have fresher tires. Can they use them in the closing laps of this stage?
And I think AJ Allmendinger took it personally when Marty reported earlier that he didn't have any playoff points. AJ Allmendinger out in front, and if he could win the stage, it would be his first playoff point of 2024 as they come up on 6 laps remaining in stage 2. Allmendinger, Smith, Custer, top 3.
I was going to say, if you can pull this off, it'll even be more impressive.
Sheldon Creed, we've seen him with some handling issues, and there he tags the wall just a bit. Now Chandler Smith's going to try to clear him, but not enough. And the 18 once again, right up against the wall.
Looking for the cushion. They're just trying to find something to grab him.
INC, remember he was 2 laps down because of the electrical issues. Still he's running 34th, 2 laps down. We see that 39 up there.
So the 3 leaders, they drove away from the next group. Then all of a sudden, they started getting caught again. The 2 car is out of control loose. But still, I think there's enough time. If the 7 can get by the 2, and the 2 is sideways, he's going to be able to jump to the outside of him. I don't think Jesse wants to be part of this. He just wants to finish the stage at this point. But I think the 7 might have even though it's way behind, might have a shot here.
I think so. I think he's going to get just a big run on these front 4. The question is, when he gets there with 3 to go, can he do anything with it? A little bit staggered in front of him is really going to help him. You see, it's like turbo. The 7 just accelerates that big pocket of air between the double file in front.
Easily got to the 98. Now we'll see if he moves to the inside through 1 and 2. Smoke coming out of the 1 of Sam Mayer. There has been some contact with the wall as the back bumper has completely off and now bursts into flames. Caution is out.
Yellow down.
This fire right here, you have to wonder, see some damage on the front as well. Is there more to this story? Was it an engine that expired, which made him get into the wall? Did he get into his own oil? It's rare that you see that much fire just from hitting the fence on the right side, or did it pull an oil line or something off, some sort of accelerant? Sam quickly gets out of the car.
Another DNF for Mayer this season.
Not wasting any time.
It almost looks like the automatic fire system went.
Sorry, guys.
Was activated.
Either one good or 17 was being more, or 19 was being more aggressive, but all that on me. Sorry.
So good to see the AMR safety crew there to assist Mayer. That was the reason.
Yeah, I wondered if it was an engine. I just think it had to be some sort of oil or something after contact, because that's just a wreck on the racetrack.
Yeah, just not clear.
Got
It
into
was
the
Kevin
wall.
Hamlin we heard on the radio saying that one's on me. So we didn't get to hear the radio, but from that, it sounds like Kevin Hamlin is saying that one's on me. So he must have been telling Sam there was room up. There was absolutely not space for a car. The 19 of Gray was in the gas and not letting him up.
Yeah, watch this as it carries on. The fire came into the cockpit for just a moment, and there's temperature sensors that actually, once it gets to a certain temperature, it activates the fire extinguisher. And I think that's what that is right there, Steve.
Yeah, putting it out.
Trunk. It's
Yeah.
putting it out. But that's just, again, we've heard spotters take the blame for calling someone clear and they're not clear, but there's only one driver. The driver's got to make this call. And that's just how it is. Kevin Ham is one of the best spotters in the business, but only one guy's going to the infield care center, and that's the driver. Driver's got to be responsible for it. And again, I think this right here, you see the fire extinguishes, but you see it in the car there for just a moment.
Yeah, obviously, I mentioned an accelerant. You know, when the right front hits, something happens, right? An oil line or some sort of fluid has to be leaking, and then the fire gets put out. A scary moment right there when you see that fireball.
Makes you wonder, it's like a rear end line or something.
Yeah, exactly. Something has come off. There's some sort of lubricant that's caught on fire. And then you mentioned the temperature sensor, much like think about a sprinkler system in commercial building. It's the same idea, concept wise, right? It tells that there's a fire and it puts the extinguisher system out there, and right there, fire goes out.
I know it's bad for Sam Mayer, but good for fans. You could see the fire rolling back toward the car. So we always talk about the air and how you can't actually see the air, but the fire showed us how the air rolls over these cars and can roll back and give them downforce on these cars. But yeah, the AMR safety crew got immediately to Sam Mayer, and they'll take him to the infield care center. But obviously the flames erupting underneath the 1 with that caution means the end of stage 2. And so congratulations, AJ Allmendinger. Here is playoff point number 1 of the 2024 season as he will win stage 2.
And equally as important is Sammy Smith in that battle to try to make that last spot. Going to finish second, get 8 points right here.
Allmendinger, Smith, Custer, Herbst, Allgaier, Love, Gray, Smith, SVG, and Hill all gaining points in the end of that stage. And it ended a little earlier. And the day ended earlier for Sam Mayer in flame.
Alrighty, so under caution here for the 3rd time today. This is for incident, bleeds into the end of stage 2. AJ Allmendinger, as you just heard on the broadcast, wins his first stage of the season. As he wins stage 2 here today at Atlanta, Sammy Smith ends up 2nd, Cole Custer 3rd, Riley Herbst 4th, and Justin Allgaier 5th. Jesse Love 6th, Taylor Gray 7th, Chandler Smith 8th, Shane Van Gisbergen 9th, and Austin Hill 10th. Sam Mayer was actually battling for 7th place with Taylor Gray at the time of the caution, and Mayer obviously has now dropped out of the race as a result of this fiery accident. Luckily, he has gotten out of the car again under his own power and will be taking the trip to the infield care center. Mandatory trip, that is. So with him dropping out of the race, CJ McLaughlin, Morgan Baird should be able to overtake him in the running order, running multiple laps off of the lead lap. And then Dawson Cram obviously will end up finishing last in 37th. He had his engine issue earlier in the day, so Mayer will end up with a 36th place finish here this afternoon. Time of the caution, lap 78. And free pass goes to Ryan Sieg, so he is now just one lap down to begin the final stage after his electrical issues in the early laps of this one. Lap 12, back when he stalled on the backstretch, fell 2 laps down. Great job by his crew getting to work on the race car and fixing that issue as soon as they did, that they only lost 2 laps under that caution. Unfortunately, he's only had a couple cautions since, and with Alfredo getting the free pass at the end of stage 1, it took until the end of stage 2 to get one of those 2 laps back for Sieg. But one more caution away from him getting back on the lead lap in this one. We still have about half the race remaining. We'll be seeing our second pit stops of the day for the leaders once they come back from the commercial break. Again, we're in the stage 2 end here on KRC for the Focus Health 250 coverage of this NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Atlanta. So again, first stage win of the season for AJ. And now that we are at the end of stage 2, we will close the chat poll. 96 votes were casted. Asked you who you thought was going to win this NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Atlanta today. 41% of you taking somebody other than Allgaier, Kligerman, or Hill, so we'll see if you'll be correct. AJ Allmendinger falls into that other category. So anyway, what I was going to say, he falls into the other category there. Maybe you guys will be correct if AJ can hold on to his track position. Had just enough fuel to make it to the end of the stage, pitting during that first caution. Didn't think that was going to be the case, but that is why I'm not in the crew chief pit box. I'm sitting right here at my place watching the race with all of you. 39% of those votes going to Justin Allgaier, 12% for Parker Kligerman, and 6% for Austin Hill. My pick was Jesse Love, so I guess he would have fallen under the other as well this weekend. We'll see how this is going to go about. Pit road's still closed that last time by.
About coming to pit road, and after seeing Allmendinger and Sammy Smith lead that entire stage on old tires, the strategy is to get track position.
The only thing that's happened is with all of this cleanup, they've kept pit road closed. So that's going to extend the opportunity to put fuel in the car, have less laps. It's safer rather than sending everybody off pit road into the safety vehicles. They just haven't opened it.
Points as they run on the left side of your screen there. Again, those in yellow have won. The gap between Sammy Smith and Ryan Sieg is huge compared to the way we started. It was 10 points that separated those two, and now you're seeing it 50 points. Hey, there's the guy who's going to race at Bristol in a little bit.
Well, Ryan Sieg had that electrical issue, went 2 laps down. He just still has a perfectly healthy race car running 33rd.
And the problem is he's not the highest scored lap down car because Matt DiBenedetto was a lap down. So that did not put Sieg back in the position to get the free pass.
Although if it's anything like the spring, there's a lot of fireworks yet to happen.
Just watch this.
Yeah, that's right. Hold my beverage. So watch what's getting ready to happen.
Here's the entrance on turn 3. It's very unique.
The commitment box, that orange box that they came in. And so now, this group on pit road, getting ready for service, and again, they're going to want to get these things as full as possible. Allmendinger has been out there since lap 14, coming up on completing the 83rd lap of this race. And riding along with Jeff Burton and that state water heaters on board.
That entire area is all pit road speed.
45 miles per hour, and now they're heading into their pit stalls. Okay,
Sammy Smith said he was sketchy and losing grip, but when the 00 was behind him, his car got a little bit free. He's to start the next run saving. He'll get 4 tires of fuel, as will Cole Custer. 4 Goodyear tires for him. His car was still too free at the end of the run, Marty.
AJ Allmendinger joked with us, guys. Congrats. We finally won something this year. First playoff point of the season with 3 races left in the regular season. He said, hey, our handling was really good. I needed to turn just a little bit longer for AJ Allmendinger. And yes, checking in with Alex Shantz. This should be their last pit stop of the day.
2 tires for Taylor Gray and Sheldon Creed, gaining them a lot of spots on pit road. Allmendinger drops a couple, and Herbst hold on to his position. Again, a late into the wall incident. And the flame drawn from underneath the one of Sam Mayer.
Alrighty, so back to a full screen commercial break. 80 laps to go with where we're at right now in stage 3. Taylor Gray wins the race off of pit road. Sounds like these teams are going to try to stretch it to the end of the race on fuel. It's going to be tough if they go green to the end, but I was wrong about the first stage, from the first stage pit stops to the end of stage 2, but granted, that was a lot less time than what we're seeing here, especially if we don't get any more caution laps. Second stage almost went caution-free before the incident with 3 to go in the stage involving Sam Mayer and Taylor Gray. And Gray is, well, cycled back into the race lead off of that. So he definitely didn't have nearly as much damage as what Sam Mayer did, who ended up on fire and now out of the race, of course. Guillermo Loreza, thanks for tuning in. Liorza. Our goal, again, is to get to 100 likes on this stream today. We are currently at 64. And we have well more than that many people watching right now, so be sure to hit the like button on this stream. We have live commentary coverage every NASCAR race weekend. Be sure to hit the subscribe button as well. 55% of viewers over the last 28 days on the channel are not subscribed, so appreciate you guys tuning in week and week out. But be sure to hit that subscribe button. Helps the channel grow quite a bit. And on the road to 6K, of course. With this being the end of stage 2, usually at the end of stage 2, I do a diecast showing. We moved on from the diecast sitting behind me because I went through them all and then to the 164 scale diecast. But I know a lot of people asked me about the diecast behind me on the wall. I got a few more questions even during the week on the gaming streams as well. So I was like, you know what? We'll just kind of rotate back to the 124 scale diecast that I have sitting behind me every single week and rotate back through those. I know I've showed every single one off at some point already this season, but kind of go back through the list of, I guess, my favorites from now to the end of the season. This is probably one of my favorite Busch Series paint schemes of all time. Of course, now known as the NASCAR Xfinity Series paint schemes. This is a Kevin Harvick 2001 Reese's Monte Carlo Chevrolet. This is from the 2004 season. And always loved the Reese's schemes. Justin Allgaier actually ran a Reese's scheme the last couple of seasons in various races as well. Still looks good to this day. This was definitely one of my favorites from the Xfinity Series growing up as a kid. So one of the first diecasts I actually purchased of the 124 scale diecast in that collection behind me. So this will be the diecast showing. With this being an Xfinity race today, I figured I'd show off an Xfinity Series, or again at this time Busch Series diecast. It's like Sheldon Creed had an uncontrolled tire. That penalty is going to send him to the back of the lead lap. And it looked like also contact on pit road further back with Shane Van Gisbergen and Chandler Smith. SVG trying to get into his box. 21 slid through his box too far, had to back up, lost several positions there. So a lot of movement, mostly in the wrong direction for a lot of these teams that were in the top 10 at the end of stage 1 and where they are at now.
Pit road, you see the Peacock pit box, and DJ and KP, you guys ready for these final 78 laps?
Oh, we're ready right here. We've got a great viewing spot as all of this action is getting ready to take place. Kyle, I think the one thing that I look at, Justin Allgaier, obviously the best car here, but if you have some handling issues, I'm not sure what you can do because I think a lot of it comes from the cars being trimmed out. So any adjustment you make might just be a small Band-Aid.
Yeah, it's a Band-Aid. We can't fix anything. We've got to hang on right now. That's what's making this exciting. You see Allgaier, he seems to be able to do it on 4 tires, 2 tires, maybe no tires. I don't know. I mean, that's how good his car looks right now. But we saw just Jesse Love pull over and give up the position. That's how bad these things are handling. That's when racing was fun to watch, but not fun to drive.
Yeah, you got that exactly right. Ryan Sieg now back with just 1 lap down there. If he can get a quick caution here that he's not a part of, he's got a fast race car, could get back in this thing, guys.
And so after the choose, we see the 16 on the inside, and that 19 of Taylor Gray will be on the outside for the start. We'll restart. As you see Brandon Jones, a lot of damage to the inside of that number 9.
And you can see on this choose, the outside lane is by far the most preferred. It does create some opportunities, though. The 00 is in 6th. He's driven up to essentially 3rd. The 27, he was in 10th. Now he's driven up to essentially 5th.
Let's listen into the 18 radio.
You get the fire out of the way. What the hell is that? What, 3 in a row? We've thrown away now, pit road. Maybe we're just an halfway. Could be fine, but got to get it cleaned up, obviously.
Well, there's the frustration of Sheldon Creed. He knows that he's been close so many times, and then to have another incident put him in a precarious position.
But yeah, because his car hasn't been driving great as it was, and now basically last on the field, it's not going to make it drive any better.
Taylor Gray starting in front of this pack. He's had his hands full with his race car as well. 2 tires.
All right, here we go. Green flag back in the air. 76 laps remain. Make that 75 laps remaining in the race. Following our 3rd caution of the day at Atlanta. This race distance the same as what we saw back in the spring. And we had a fuel mileage race to the end of that one. So we'll see if we have that again here today if we go past the scheduled distance. Looks like maybe a little... no, never mind. I thought it was a tire rub on the 97. He did have contact on pit road, but it was more to the nose of the race car, or the back of the race car, I should say. It was not a tire rub. It was just the fuel going through the speedy dry laid down on the top of the race line after the fire and potential fluids on the racetrack from Sam Mayer's car, which brought out the last caution. So Gray leads the first green flag lap of stage 3. Allmendinger led every green flag lap of stage 2 in the same position that Gray is in, which is position number 1 from the restart to where we are at now. Fastest car in the field today, though, has been Justin Allgaier. Remember, he took right sides only the first stop, so it took 4 tires this time. Should be even quicker in stage 2. He kind of fell behind in the track position battle at the beginning of the stage and only worked his way back up to 5th. Now he's in 5th for the restart and looking to move forward from there. Lap 90 at the start-finish line now. Taylor Gray continues to lead. He has never won in his Truck Series career. Imagine if he gets an Xfinity win before a truck win. We've seen JGR go to victory lane many times already this season, and in fact, the 20 car in specifics has had 4 different winners in that car this year, 6 wins total. The 19, though, has not won any races. We'll see if Gray can get the 19 into the owner playoffs. That would mean all 4 JGR Toyotas would be in the owners playoffs if it were to start today. Sheldon Creed would be right on the bubble, though, with the 18 teams for the owner standings if the 19 were to win. As far as other drivers in the top 10 without a win to make the playoffs, Kyle Sieg is currently in 7th and Josh Williams 9th. If you're looking at a potential underdog winner, those would be the only drivers in the top 10 as of right now below the cutoff line on the playoffs that are up there currently. There are other drivers in the top 10 without wins that are above the cutoff line, though, which includes Stage 2 winner A.J. Allmendinger, who is currently 7th, as well as Sammy Smith, who came in last driver above the cutoff line of points, is in 3rd, and he finished 2nd in Stage 2. Continues his track position on to begin Stage 3. Austin Hill and Jesse Love making headway on the bottom of the racetrack. Same for Ryan Sieg. Sieg racing up with this lead pack, but he is a lap down still. Trying to get his lap back, potentially. Get a caution that way. But 1 more yellow. As long as he's not involved in it. He is the first car 1 lap down. They were talking about Matt DiBenedetto falling a lap down at the end of the stage. He's actually off track right now, so he did not get the free pass like the USA Network broadcast had stated. It looks like Matt DiBenedetto has fallen out of the race, as he is now 35th. We'll see if he returns a little later on. He had nothing to do with the last incident with Sam Mayer. Oddly enough, Taylor Gray, car that made contact with Sam Mayer, and now Gray is in the lead. It's weird how that works out. A lot of cars still 2x2 on the bottom lane of the racetrack. We haven't seen the inside line keep the numbers like they have here in stage 3 in the first 2 stages of the race, but they are keeping numbers on the bottom. 3 of them up there at the front of the field. Chandler Smith, the lead car. Then you got Austin Hill and Ryan Sieg. 3 different manufacturers, in fact, and now 1 car moves from the top to the bottom. That would be the 00 of Cole Custer. Another Ford down on the inside. Chandler Smith on the back straightaways, door-to-door with the race leader, Taylor Gray. And still entering turns 3 and 4, side by side for the lead as well. Big time side draft by the 81, but can't pull clear of the 19. Slid a little bit off the double white line on the bottom of the racetrack. Gray carries more momentum on the high side off the exit of the corner. And Gray leads that lap at the line, 68 to go. 600th of a second, the difference at the line, Gray continues to lead. And Chandler Smith clear into turn 1. And if he leads this lap at the line, it'll be the first lap led on the day for Chandler Smith in the 81. I believe it'll be the first green flag lap led by a Toyota in this race. Sheldon Creed led 1 during caution. That's the only lap a Toyota has led so far in this race. So, yep, Chandler Smith does lead easily at the line. Taylor Gray, single file in line behind him. Top 4 up on the outside, still single file. And Ryan Sieg, who's actually a lap down, is the lead car in the bottom. Cole Custer, the lead lap car, in line behind him. Kim Kuhn is caught up with Sam Mayer outside the infield care center.
It sounded like, though, your spotter, Kevin Hamlin, took a little bit of responsibility on the radio. From your seat, what can you tell us what happened?
No, that's just racing right there. I mean, we saw that a couple weeks ago with other guys, so it's just part of it. I mean, this the way the style of racing is you got to make those quick clears and those quick moves. So I got to tell you, this is probably the most fun I've ever had at this racetrack. Making moves like that, going to the bottom, doing quick clears up top it was a blast. I was having a lot of fun as a race car driver. Too bad it got cut short. Our Hard Rock Vodka Chevrolet was certainly as fast as Xfinity 10G. I'm really proud of these guys. They did a really good job putting the car out there that was really fast and definitely the best car I've ever had here. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with this the rest of the year and keep on digging.
Caution is out as the car got up against the wall off turn 4. That means Shane Van Gisbergen makes a beeline for pit road. It looks like the right side tires are down on the number 97 Colleague Chevrolet. Tough to tell exactly how that started, but caution is out for the 4th time. And the 3rd4th time in the race, the 3rd time for incidents. Of course, not including the stage 1 caution. 3 wide on the outside, getting into the corner. It looked like Sammy Smith might have pinched the 97 off, but him being in the middle groove with the 7 underneath him, it was just a tough spot to be. Maybe a slightly over-aggressive move by the 97 of Van Gisbergen, who had a run on the outside of the 8, and there just wasn't a hole there. Should have probably just lifted and stayed in line. So, rookie error there on a drafting track by the rookie in the number 97. He should be one of the favorites for the win at Watkins Glen next week, though, so we'll see if he can bounce back the following week. He should still remain in the race even after getting into the wall there. I believe he is on the lead lap. Tough to tell if he beat the pace car out of the pits or not. More on that in a moment. We'll wait for our leaderboard to rack back up when they get back to the start-finish line this time. I'm not sure if SVG lost his lap or not. What we do know, though, Ryan C. gets the free pass, so he is back on the lead lap with 64 laps to go. And he looked like he had a fast car to get towards the front of the field, so don't count him out of it. It does hurt he didn't get any stage points today, and Sammy Smith got quite a few. Again, that is a driver he's trying to battle with for that final playoff spot on points. And really, Sieg, the only driver coming into the day below the cutoff line on points that had a realistic shot of pointing his way in. Still not impossible with a couple races to go after this today, especially depending on what happens here down the home stretch in this race. So lap number 100 here. Again, this is our fourth caution, of the race. First in the final stage. Turn 4, Shane Van Gisbergen up against the wall. Our average race speed has dipped down to 120.59 miles per hour. And we are just over an hour and 15 minutes from the drop of the green flag to where we are currently. And it looks like SVG did hold on to his lap after exiting pit road. He didn't hit the commitment line either, though, so I don't know what NASCAR is going to rule here. When he hit the pits, he kind of just drove through the grass onto pit lane. He was out of the way of traffic, though, so, I mean, there is that. Yeah, I don't know how NASCAR is going to score this at the moment. I'll keep you updated on the restart when we get there. I'd imagine most of the field will stay out of the pits unless they come down to top off just to ensure that they're not going to be in a fuel-saving mode. It seems like track position has been fairly tough to come by at the front of the field, although we do have cars on the bottom of the track looking to come to pit road.
Seeing right now the group on pit road led by the 21 of Austin Hill, that might be an issue for them.
They're making sure they have enough for overtime, maybe making some adjustments. We'll see if they think tires are necessary or just fuel. Dave.
For the 7 of Allgaier, it is adjustments, and it's still that overheating of the water. He says the pressure in the water and the oil are good, but it's still overheating the water. Doesn't quite understand it. So he'll get 4 tires here. Best he can be on new, fresh Goodyears. Also, his teammate Sammy Smith in the 8. He'll get 2 right sides only, and he'll be leaving, Kim.
Austin Hill saying he's decent on the bottom, but extremely loose on the top. Didn't take tires, looked like a gas and go. Slight adjustment there for Austin Hill.
Slight adjustment, top it off with fuel, and under 62 laps remaining in this race from Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Remember the spring, everybody was on fumes for those overtime finishes. So the cars that didn't have the great track position had a little fuel.
So much success for Austin Hill at this racetrack. 3 of the 5 races since the reconfiguration. He knows about winning. So do the teams here in Atlanta. So much history of great success from all the sports teams right here in Atlanta.
Alrighty, so getting ready for yet another restart upcoming here soon. Again, under caution for SVG, getting up against the wall in turns 3 and 4, sparking the yellow. In the early going of the final stage, we were only about 20 or still waiting for us to get back to green flag action as cleanup continues. And we will take one more break and then continue the live commentary coverage on the other side. You're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Xfinity Series Focus Health 250 at Atlanta. Yeah, it does stink to see as many empty seats as we're seeing here at Atlanta for this Xfinity race. I will say Xfinity Series doesn't draw near as much of a crowd as the Cup Series. There definitely will be way more fans in the stands tomorrow. That tends to be the case on a weekly basis. Although I don't think we're going to see the crowd that we saw in the spring at Atlanta for the second date, considering that the Atlanta Falcons are playing at home tomorrow in downtown Atlanta, maybe 10 miles away from where the track is. And it's the home opener, I'm sure, too. So they'll probably be sold out. I don't know that the Cup race would be for that reason. Place was packed early in the year, though. That's why I'm another big believer, though, in only having one race a year, especially nowadays. I mean, just being at Michigan, Michigan being my home track and going there every year, since they've gone down to one race a season, there is way more people there now than what there was the last couple years, 2018, 2019, for both dates. Because there's only one opportunity to go see them. Unfortunately, obviously, the Monday portion of the race, there isn't as many people. That's because people can't stay around until Monday. It's just the case. no matter what track they're at when it comes to a Monday NASCAR race. But yeah, in that essence, stinks to see. But yeah, 2 races a year definitely hurts that. It also, like I said, this doesn't help when you got an NFL game going on at the same time tomorrow. And even for today's sake, Georgia Bulldogs are at home, I think currently as this race is going on. You get down south, it is very much football country down there. I mean, football country everywhere around this country, but I'm sure that doesn't help for today's attendance.
First qualifying as well. We saw Michael McDowell once again. Very impressive in that qualifying run.
It's an impressive day front row for sure. Another pole position. Talk a lot about the big gap in points, but Ryan Seaves was able to get back on the lead lap. Now is in the 30th position, and Sammy Smith, who's under penalty, he had a safety violation, so he's all the way back there as well. They're basically running next to each other. So what looked like a 50-something point lead is now down to 18 and very close to one another on the racetrack.
You remember Sammy Smith got 9 points as far as stage points for where he was finishing in stage 1 and stage 2. So that's what's increased that gap between those two from the start of the race. Getting ready for the restart here with 59 laps to go in Atlanta.
Very deep in the fields, and Senator put on 4 tires. He has a ton of work to do to get back to the front.
Top 4 cars trying to pull away as they work together. And a big push from Riley Herbst. Got Cole Custer out there, but now he's going to start to fall back with no help whatsoever. Chandler Smith has the lead. Taylor, there's that 7 you talked about on the high side, taking advantage of that fresh Goodyear rubber.
39 a seed going with him.
And we know the 39 has been fast. We also saw the 7 earlier. Very quick as he won stage 1. But the battle continues up front here. Custer looking for some help from behind as he slides back up to that door of the 81 of Chandler Smith. Car had an issue on pit road, and he continues to have issues now into the wall just a bit.
It's kind of follow the leader. There's 2 or 3 of them that got into the dust.
And with 2 races remaining after this race for the regular season, Sammy Smith's trying to find every point he can get.
I'm going to tell you, Jeff, there are going to be drivers that get out after this race and talk about track position, how you couldn't pass, and the package didn't allow them to get where they needed to be, and they need to go back and watch the 7 cars race because he started all the way at the back, and he's up to 15th, and he is making moves. He is the aggressor and making them work at times.
Yeah, and that 5 car, Anthony Alfredo, remember, he was in the wall. He is back in the fight.
Cole Custer clears the 81 easily now by 3 car lengths as he is leading here in Atlanta. Look back from Jeff Burton.
The 39 car drove up to his rear bumper. I don't think he ever touched him, just pulled the air off of him.
And now a little side-by-side action for 3rd as we still see the 7 moving up. Caution has come out. Spin in 3 and 4.
I think now we know why the 27 was so loose.
Jeff Burton spins in 3 and 4 and brings caution out for the 5th time today. He was running 18th.
Tired. Yeah, the tire problem. Left rear tire.
So to pit road. And all right, Steve, now with 54 to go, do you see anybody coming back to pit road after seeing what Allgaier has been able to do?
I don't think so. I think that's something special for Allgaier. I think if you stayed out the first time, you have to stay out again. The top 8 are all guys that stayed on the racetrack. There may be a miscellaneous 1 or 2 that decides to come to pit road. I think the leaders are going to keep their track position. They made that decision last time.
Part of the stuff that came to pit road is Austin Hill. He's running 9th. Allgaier has made his way back up to 11th. Jeff Burton looking back at him as he spun coming off of turn 3 and onto the apron, bringing the caution out. We'll have a restart. We return to Atlanta.
All right, so Cole Custer still the race leader, time of the caution there. Chandler Smith sits in 2nd. Riley Herbst 3rd. Taylor Gray 4th. AJ Allmendinger 5th. Jesse Love 6th. Anthony Alfredo 7th. Josh Williams 8th. Austin Hill 9th. Ryan Truex is 10th. That is the top 10 in the running order at this caution. Our 5th yellow of the race. Our 2nd for stage 2. 27 car of Jeb Burton went for a spin. It looked like he had a left rear tire down at the time of the lazy spin towards the back half of the lead lap. Nobody else collected. Jeb should be able to hold on to the lead lap by the time he had cycled off of pit road. And free pass going to go to the 07 of CJ McLaughlin, who was 6 laps down, now is 5 laps down. Or actually, I should say was 5 and now will be 4 down once he gets his lap back. But very unlikely he's going to get back in the lead lap in this race today. So 32 cars in the lead lap as of right now. Cars that are out of the race: Dawson Cram, Sam Mayer, Matt DiBenedetto, Morgan Baird are all off the racetrack. McLaughlin, the only driver not in the lead lap that is still in the race. Other race statistics to this point: AJ Allmendinger has led the most laps, led just one time for 39 laps all the way through stage 2. He ended up winning the 2nd stage. Justin Allgaier, who won stage 1, is led for 19 laps in this race. Second most laps led for the pole sitter, Jesse Love. He's led 2 times for 23 laps. 12 laps led apiece for Chandler Smith and Taylor Gray. All really in the early going here of stage 3. Current race leader Cole Custer had the lead just before the caution came out. He has led the last 4 laps. Leland Honeyman led 1 lap during caution on pit road. Same for Sheldon Creed. Those are all the 8 drivers who have led at least 1 lap in the race today. And we've had 8 lead changes amongst them as well. Looks like pit road's open. Those at the tail end of the lead lap are on their way in, but not many of them.
Buster's Radio.
Can I hear pretty halfway confident where that A was now?
Which part are you going to laugh at, Rick? The A plus or the halfway confident?
The halfway confidence, one of the best confidence.
So listen,
today.
A crew chief who's pretty halfway confident means that that's like 65, 70% not willing to completely commit to it. And really what Custer's talking about is you mentioned it. You know, they pitted at lap 83, so they couldn't quite make it to the finish. But now we've had so many yellows. This is the
Yeah, and if we continue to get more and more yellows, it's only going to add into the fact that they're more than likely going to be able to make it on field to the end. 50 laps to go as of right now, 51 laps to go, excuse me, as of right now under caution. So we will have less than 50 left when we go green. They have not gotten the 1 to go signal quite yet. I would imagine they will this time by, so I'm going to assume we'll have 49 laps left when we restart. But Cole Custer, again, is the race leader in this one. First time he has led today. We'll have to wait and see how long he'll be able to hold on to this race lead. Custer just 1 win this season. Looking for yet another. $97.39. Have a tie for the fastest lap in the race. That is a good catch. That does appear to be the case. Yeah, 31.135. 31.135, fastest lap of the day for both Sieg and Shane Van Gisbergen. It's an average speed of 178.063 miles per hour. What's insane is that those lap times are still down from where we saw the Cup cars in qualifying. Single car qualifying for the Cup Series, we saw a couple of lap times ran under the 31-second lap barrier. We haven't even seen that in the draft with these Xfinity Series cars. It just goes to show how much more speed the Cup cars have on this Atlanta racetrack, with the full restrictor plate package for them versus kind of a hybrid package for these Xfinity cars. Well, that, I mean, you're going to have a little bit more horsepower for the Cup cars than the Xfinity anyway, but it's crazy that it's that much of a speed difference. I wouldn't be surprised if we see right around low 30-second lap times in the draft for the Cup Series cars tomorrow. Well, it looks like less than 49 to go in the restart. They're just now getting the 1 to go. We'll have 48 laps left when we go green. So 48 laps remaining when we get back to racing. Field was mostly 2x2 though for the first couple of restarts in stage 3. Way more side-by-side racing, at least in the pack, so far as a result of this race in stage 3 than what we saw in the entirety of probably stage 1 and 2 combined. Those slingshot moves, though, and the ability to move through the field at the front of the field is going to become less likely as they become more gridlocked 2x2 if the inside line continues to keep up in the numbers game. The amount of cars down there compared to those on the top. And the slingshots are going to be less likely to be had. So if you fall behind on track position and pit strategy early, probably going to end up hurting you down the line a little bit more. Later we get into this race. Yeah, Allgaier won stage 1. Stage 2 was won by Allmendinger. So 48 to go on the restart. Pace car pulls to pit road. Custer Gray on the front row for the restart. Outside lane is Custer. And he is the control car. Green flag back in the air at Atlanta. Jesse Love inside of row 2 trying to give the push to the 19 of Gray. 2x2 at this point, and Chandler Smith kind of split up with the Toyotas. He's on the outside lane behind Custer. Allgaier outside the top 10, still trying to move his way forward. He was one of those that topped off on fuel a couple cautions ago, so he's still trying to get back through the field. He's in the outside lane about 7 rows deep. Easily clear in 3 and 4. Opening lap following the restart is Custer as the field gets up to speed off turn 4. Custer's teammate Herbst on the outside of row number 3 and will work to be the third car in the running order by the time they get into turn 1. He's side by side at least for that third spot with Taylor Gray, who's still underneath him. Anthony Alfredo, second car on the bottom lane, gets a little tight. Aggressive side draft on Jesse Love to the outside. The 5 pulls to the bottom underneath Gray, 3 wide. An aggressive move by Alfredo clears up barely on the 19, forcing Gray to have to lift to keep from causing a big wreck. Gray continues to hold his line in the middle off turn 4. Anthony Alfredo just completely stalled out that entire inside line with the aggressive moves made on the back straightaway. He leads the inside line still, but now falls back to about 7th or 8th place when they were side by side initially for 3rd. And Gray lost even more positions. He's now the 3rd car in line on the bottom. Parker Kligerman in the middle finds his way back to the outside lane in front of Brendan Poole, behind Brandon Jones just outside the top 10. Custer continues to lead with 45 laps to go here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Once again, no commercial breaks during green flag action, full screen. Been nice to see with this USA Network broadcast. Same will be said for the Cup race tomorrow. Gray with a big momentum gain. I think Truex might have lifted quite a bit in the middle of 3 and 4. because Gray passed about 3 cars in the center of turns 3 and 4 on the bottom. Pulls alongside Allgaier now for 8th. He was right around 11th. And Ryan Sieg, who was a lap down or more for most of this race, is now just outside the top 10 and 11th as he battles Austin Hill for position. And he's the second car on the inside lane behind Taylor Gray. Remember, Sieg from a lap down at the tail end of the field a couple restarts ago was able to get towards the front. Caution came out to get the free pass back. So at least now he kind of has a good idea for what his car is feeling like. This is Sieg's home track. He came very close to winning his first career race here a couple years ago. In the 2022 spring race, Gibbs got around him on the final lap for the win. And obviously even closer to a win at Texas earlier this season. 2 1,000ths of a second, ended up with a second place finish that day. A great job recovering to 11th, and that has put him just 11 points behind Sammy Smith on the current cutoff line for the live playoff bubble, and that's again as they run. And Sammy Smith has fallen behind a bit. He's now back in 19th despite outscoring Sieg in the stages today. Definitely a great comeback to this point for Sieg. Can they seal the deal and still continue on with a great finish? Definitely wants to get up there in case we get an underdog winner that could potentially bump him even further behind the cut line. At that point, he would have to be chasing Parker Kligerman for the final playoff spot. Though the only driver who really can upset the field today with a win outside the cutoff line seems to be Josh Williams, if not for Ryan Sieg, of course, who's in 11th. Josh Williams in the Kaulig number 11 car is in 6th. Justin Allgaier makes a pass through 3 and 4 for 7, just behind Williams. He got by Ryan Truex that last lap. And the Sam Hunt Racing number 26 car, Corey Heim, cuts down to the inside of the racetrack. And ready to make the pass on Ryan Truex. Slides up. Truex gets out of shape and had to lift. Truex is going to lose a ton of positions. An aggressive move by Corey Heim, but it did end up panning. Truex also gets passed by not only the 26, but the 39, the 21, and the 19 as well. Truex falls outside the top 10 and is now currently sitting in 12th. Less than 40 laps to go here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll go through the full field running order. As of right now, again, Cole Custer is the race leader. Chandler Smith 2nd. Riley Herbst 3rd. Jesse Love 4th. AJ Allmendinger 5th. Justin Hill 9th. Ryan Sieg is 10th. 11th place, Taylor Gray. Ryan Truex 12th. Brandon Jones 13th. Parker Kligerman 14th. Anthony Alfredo 15th. 16th for Sheldon Creed. Lawless Allen 17th. Sammy Smith 18th. Brennan Poole 19th. Kyle Weatherman 20th. Parker Retzlaff 21st. Make that Kyle Sieg now 21st. Parker Retzlaff 22nd. Leland Honeyman 23rd. Mason Maggio 24th. Jeremy Clements 25th. Blaine Perkins 26th. Nick Lights 27th. Ryan Ellis 28th. Garrett Smithley 29th. David Starr 30th. Shane Van Gisbergen, since the restart of this last green flag run, or I should say really the last couple green flag runs, he's now fallen off the lead lap. SVG is 1 lap down in 31st. Jeb Burton also lap down in 32nd, so those two are battling for the free pass position. CJ McLaughlin 15 laps down now off the racetrack in 33rd. Morgan Baird 34th. Matt DiBenedetto 35th. Sam Mayer 36th. And Dawson Cram 37th. That rounds out the field as of right now. So again, that is the full field running order rundown with just a little over 35 laps to go in this race. 35 to go, in fact, at the line this time by. Austin Hill in the 21, trying to work himself forward in the field. He was 2nd at the end of stage 1. Haven't really seen him in race lead contention since then. I don't believe Hill has led a lap. Yeah, he has not led a lap today, even though he was only 12 1,000ths of a second off of Allgaier for the stage 1 win. He's definitely got a fast car. Both him and Jesse Love definitely not leading nearly as many laps as they did in the spring race, which was dominated by Love earlier this season. little bit more movement through the field in this one, although at the very front, those top couple positions mostly stayed pretty organized through the top three since the restart. Custer, Smith, Herbst in that order have been the top three since this last restart with 48 to go. So a 14-lap stretch that they've been in that situation for. Parker Kligerman trying to make a pass on Ryan Truex. He's not going to be able to do so. That was for 13th on that failed pass attempt. Top five is still pretty tightly bunched together, really more than the top five. I mean, the entire lead pack of about, it's like 8 cars in this first single file line are all very tightly nose to tail with one another. Josh Williams found himself out of the top lane of the racetrack. He loses several positions on the front stretch, down on the bottom by himself. Trying to get back up into line on the outside, but Jesse Love fills the gap. Williams pulls up right in front of Hill. Hill goes to the inside of Williams and clears him off into turns 3 and 4. AJ Allmendinger from 4th to 2nd through turns 3 and 4, and now he's right behind the race leader, Cole Custer. AJ trying to get his first win of the season. Herbst to the inside for 3rd through turns 1 and 2 on Chandler Smith, near contact, middle of the corner, trying to pull up. Although the 16 had a moment in the center of the corner as well, he moved up in front of the 81. 81 had to lift as well as the 16. The 98 got underneath him initially. Huge bump draft, down the back stretch. 81 to the back of Allmendinger in the 16. Shot puts Allmendinger forward. Gets to the inside of Custer for the lead. Allmendinger at the line led that last lap, but did not quite clear the 0-0 yet. Side by side for the lead again through turns 1 and 2. And Allmendinger going to need a little bump draft on the back straightaway here from Herbst if he's going to want a chance to try to overtake into 3 and 4 this time by. Not going to get it. Hill with a big run to the back of the 98, bigger than the 98 had on the 16. And the 98 almost into the back of the 16. I think there was contact there. Allmendinger gets moved up into the middle groove. Great job by AJ keeping his car under control, but now is the 4th car in line on the top, and now even worse than that as he continues to have a bigger gap built between him and the 7. The 21 moved up. And it looks like another car going to potentially move up, and that was Ryan Sieg. So AJ Allmendinger falls back quite a few spots, and a lot of back and forth action going on in the top 10 as we get later into this race. Less than 30 laps to go from where we're at right now. Cole Custer still holding on to the lead, though, at the front of the field. But the battle from pretty much second on back is heated up intensely over these last few laps. Justin Allgaier, who probably had the fastest car of the day through the first couple stages in this race, hasn't been in prime position to try to take the lead up until these recent laps late. And now is up into 3rd place. Chandler Smith very close to taking the lead off turn 4 from Cole Custer. And even closer to cutting off the 7 of Allgaier, barely did as he squeezes back in line and holds on to 2nd. Almost stuffed himself and the 7 car in the fence off turn 4. Allgaier going to give the 81 another push on the back straightaway. And the 81 is going for the lead again. A bigger run this time. Custer trying to side draft Chandler Smith. Smith pulls clear. Custer falls back just 1 spot into 2nd. Chandler Smith back in the lead. As the first lap, Cole Custer has not led since the last restart. 27 laps to go as Chandler Smith's right there. 0-0 backs way up in the middle of 1 and 2. The 7 all over the back of the 0-0. The 98 trying to capitalize on that for 3rd. Herbst loses a lot of time on the inside with no help. And a big moment for Herbst, almost making contact with Hill, and he had to lift even more in the center of 3 and 4. Maybe got tight in the dirty air behind Allgaier, who was also on the bottom. Meanwhile, further off the pace, the 18 of Sheldon Creed making an unscheduled pit stop, and that will drop the 18 of Creed off the lead lap. And search for career win number 1 for Creed will have to wait yet another week. 25 laps to go, this time by at the line. Still side by side for 2nd between the 7 of Allgaier, the 0-0 of Custer. Allgaier on the inside, Custer on the outside. And they've been side by side for the better part of about 2 entire laps. Hill in third, going to give a push to the back of the 00, trying to get them both in line and get a run after the 81 for the lead. Ton of mixture of manufacturers up at the front of the field battling for the race win here. All three of the competitive Fords in the field are all in the top 10. It's like we have 2 Toyotas and then the rest Chevrolets in the top 5. But a Toyota, Ford, Chevy, 1, 2, 3 at the very front of the field. Brandon Jones working forward. He needs a win to get into the playoffs, and he gains a lot of positions through 1 and 2 on the bottom. Trying to pull clear on Taylor Gray for 5th, but Austin Hill was too close to the back bumper, the front bumper, I should say, the 19. And the 9 was able to maybe even pick up another spot on Hill, and he does. An aggressive move there by Brandon Jones to pull up in front of Austin Hill, but he was able to do so successfully. And this is as high as we've seen Brandon Jones in the running order all day today. That 9 car has an absolute rocket ship underneath the hood of the race car. Jones so close to getting to the lead. He was nearly side by side with Smith, but as he couldn't clear high, loses all those positions he was gaining the last couple laps and falls immediately to 6th. And back in line on the outside behind Taylor Gray and in front of, it looks like Jesse Love in the 2. Austin Hill side by side with Allgaier for 3rd. Big closing rate from the cars in line on the outside behind the 7 of Allgaier. Taylor Gray continues to move forward again. Ryan Sieg trying to slingshot his way by Brandon Jones. Couldn't clear. Gray fills the void on the outside where the 21 was trying to get up into line and couldn't. Definitely a lot of movement, a lot of slingshot moves, and passes being made in the top 10 in Stage 3, but especially from this most recent restart, which took place with 48 laps to go, to where we are right now with about 21 working on 20 laps to go this time by at the line. Again, Chandler Smith took the race lead away from Cole Custer. A little less than 10 laps ago from where we are now, and Custer's remained in second ever since that pass for position. 20 laps to go. Smith still out in front. Mostly single file until getting into turn 1 that last time, and now Allgaier goes for second on Custer. Has Custer clear, but he's trying to go for the lead as well as he's on the inside of the 81. A nose out in front on the backstretch. Near contact heading into turn 3. Tight racing. Chandler Smith holds on to the lead again. Allgaier still trying to stay underneath the 81 in the 00. Can't do so. We'll see if he can get in line into 3rd. No, he could not. He's actually still side by side for 3rd right behind him, as there was a little bit of time lost for Allgaier and the 00. So much so that the 19 came closing in very quickly behind both cars. Oh, contact, and we got trouble. Turn 3. Multiple cars in the wall. Custer's around. Sieg is in it. Herbst, obviously the 7 of Allgaier. Debris hitting the front of the 2 car of Jesse Love. Taylor Gray with a hard impact. And the big one at Atlanta has transpired here in the top 10 in the running order. Looked like the 7 car got a little tight. And up into the wall he ended up going. Waiting to see a replay on that, but it looked like live as it happened. Allgaier, who was battling Custer for second, was very tightly on the door of that 00 entering turn 3. When he had gotten into the left rear corner panel and the left front of the 19 of Taylor Gray, who was just behind him, and obviously nowhere to go for all those cars in the outside lane, those few rows back. A lot of cars involved in this incident. 18 laps to go, and the caution flag is out here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway yet again. Replay showing again the 7 of Allgaier underneath the 00 of Custer. Definitely got tight. He got tight, and by the time he lifted, it was too late with Custer and Gray. And a bunch of cars on the outside stacked up in the crash behind him. Several tried to miss to the inside. Unfortunately for Herbst, who tried to swing low to miss the incident, he got hit from behind by Ryan Sieg, which wiped both cars up into the side of the 0-0 of Custer after Custer was already against the outside wall. Mentioned there was debris on the top of the 2 car rather, Sheldon Creed. Red flag out on the racetrack with 18 laps to go here at Atlanta, our first red flag of the afternoon.
In front of the 7.
Yeah, it's hard to say. And with so much contact, it'd be interesting to see what Allgaier says.
I wonder, Allgaier entering the corner that close to Custer, did it just pull the air out the car? Did you just get loose right here? And now he can't turn it.
Possible.
It's just cars really close proximity to each other.
Right along with Austin Hill.
You all he had his.
Yeah.
So watch the 19 here. I don't know. It's hard for me to point a finger and say somebody did something wrong, but just not real sure who it is. So the 7 checked up because there was contact, right? And then the 19 got into him, but the 19 didn't get into him for any other reason than the 7 checking up. Watch how slow the 7 gets right there.
Yeah, you mentioned it. The 7 should be turning left there, and he's going straight.
And slowing
toward
down.
the wall, yeah. A lot of contact right there. And then the 7 into the wall, collecting the 19. Let's listen into the 7 radio.
Oh, Rickon. 19 my right front, going down into the corner. Turned it my right front.
Well, there you have it. And that's why he was having to slow down so much.
And no work's being done because we're under red flag. And look, the side drafts are effective, but you have to get closer and closer. He said the 19 cut his right front. If anybody cut his right front, it had to be the 0-0.
Yeah.
That was the contact I saw. Maybe after that, Ray, if we take one more look, it looks to me like there's definitely contact. I mean, it's not hard contact, but if you get misaligned in the right spot, I wonder if the right front of the 7 isn't just in that perfect spot.
Some hand signals going from the NASCAR officials to crew chief. They're trying to put a plan together, but this caution comes out. There was that contact between the 0-0 and the 7. The 7 drifts up the racetrack here, collects the 19 and the 0-0, as well as a few others.
Again, red flag displayed with this late caution. 18 laps to go at Atlanta in this NASCAR Xfinity Series late regular season race. Cars involved in the incident include Ryan Sieg, Taylor Gray, Justin Allgaier, Cole Custer, Riley Herbst, and Jesse Love. 6-car crash towards the front of the field. All those cars involved in the incident listed were all inside the top 10 at the time of the crash. Really, it was most of the cars running from 2nd through 8th. Luckily for Chandler Smith, he was ahead of everything that happened, and some other of the faster cars in this one, like Austin Hill, was able to evade down to the bottom. Brandon Jones just missed the incident. Well, that's going to move a lot of guys further up in the running order that haven't been running there for most of the day. Parker Kligerman's kind of been struggling in this one. He's barely been inside the top 10 in this race, but now he's going to restart 5th. Josh Williams has done a great job in stage 3, working himself into the top 10. He made it through. He's in 6th. Ryan Truex back up in the top 10 again. Jesse Love will probably have to pit to get the rear bumper cover from the 98 car that's just kind of hanging on. I think looks like he's kind of caught on the roof cam, if I'm not mistaken, on the 2 car. And maybe that's how it had gotten basically just hooked or stuck on the growth of the two, but he's definitely going to have to pit to get that off of the race car. I don't think it's going to fall off on its own. If it didn't fall off at over 100-mile-per-hour speeds, I don't think it's going to fall off under less than that speeds under caution before we get back to green. So definitely going to have to come in there. I think NASCAR is going to like him trying to run out there on the racetrack and catch a caution for it just falling off. Especially right in the middle of the pack where he's running. A lot of those cars that were involved in that crash more than likely will be done for the day as cleanup continues under red flag conditions.
3 and 4. Let's take another look at this. We've heard a lot of drivers talk about maybe a right front tire down.
Yeah, look at the front view. The 7, the 00, they make contact right here, right there. Allgaier said he cut the right front and it wouldn't turn. If it was cut, that's where it did it. And now clearly the 7 can't make the corner. So either Allgaier had a right front down here, and if he says he had a right front down, he's done this long enough for me to believe him. He knows what he feels.
Whether it was a right front down or air, result the same, right? They got to the end of the straightaway, and the 7 doesn't follow the arc of the corner, right? I mean, he's trying. Allgaier knows there's cars up there, but straight up the hill and into the 00, the 19, collects them all.
Let's listen in to Taylor Gray's radio.
Self-inflicted. Yeah, I'm really sure. I mean, like, he was top 39. I didn't know if he got right foot down or what. It's kind of hard to tell because it all happened at one time. But nonetheless, he didn't cut himself any slack, which is kind of his MO anyway.
Now, that's just the lap that they wrecked. I will tell you, if you go back and watch the last 5 laps, there's multiple times where they get side drafts. It's easy to say he's being too aggressive, but if you don't side draft that aggressively, I don't think you can make the bottom work.
Let's see if we can dial up the driver from Talking Rock, Georgia. Chandler Smith out in front of this race.
Chandler's guys up in the booth. You got us?
I sure do.
All right, things are starting to get wild. What's the game plan here?
Just trying to stay out front, control this thing. We've had a really fast number 81 Wheelers GR Super. It's been as fast as I've been on the internet all day. Just trying to stay in front of the chaos and try to manage this race. Everybody's trying to shuck each other. Everybody's being extremely aggressive with side draft. And just everything. It feels like the truck race a little bit here, but if we stay in front of the chaos, hopefully we'll end up with a decent finish.
Well, a lot of the guys that you've raced all day just got in that accident into turn 3. So when you look around, you have enough experience to know what the people who are going to be racing here are going to try to work against you.
I mean, we kind of have all cards against us here with most of the RCR campus and Chevys behind us. And we got one Toyota, maybe the 20. I think he's back there too, but hey, I don't think he's close enough. So I'm just going to have to block for my life here and try to manage all these runs. So.
All right, good luck. Thanks for taking time.
Yes, thanks.
I'm glad that you didn't mention to him that Austin Hill is right behind him because they finished 1 and 2 earlier this year with Austin Hill getting the win and Chandler Smith finishing in the 2nd spot. All right, let's get the perspective of the guys on the Peacock pit box. DJ KP, what do you think? 18 to go. Is that the last caution we saw?
Yeah, thanks for the lap. Here's what I'm going to say. I think we just showed that at 140 laps, they run out of patience because that's what happened. You have to it's take time. These guys know with only 18 laps to go, whatever, it's time to take. They can't just give up these positions anymore.
Yeah, and as we've seen there, I mean, one of the best at side drafting, Justin Allgaier, he knew once you make that move to the inside, you get yourself in that position, then you have to try to slow those cars down beside you, or you're just going to continue back. And Justin knew that he couldn't do that. It's, like Jeff Burton said, I'm going to believe Justin Allgaier that his tire was cut, and that's what created this. But we're down under 20 laps, and it's just time to do everything you can possibly do to keep yourself in that position. That's going to continue. I'm really anxious to see who's going to pit and get tires. I think there is an advantage to that and the number of really fast cars are way down now. So I think that you could motor through. AJ Allmendinger, I think we've already heard from make hit, and we'll have to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, and in the day where all we've talked about is handling. The tires go hand in hand with handling. So we're going to have to say that. I think a lot of people in this incident right here, when you look at Cole Custer, look at these guys, I think they expected Justin Allgaier to go to the bottom. That's what he'd been doing all day long. He'd side draft you down the straight and then cut to the inside. He didn't. It was an aggressive side draft into the corner that put them all in that position. But I'm with you. It's going to be interesting to see who puts on tires. This thing with Sammy Smith and Ryan Sieg has swung back and forth all day. Hate that for Ryan Sieg. Sammy Smith.
I'm currently in the third spot. We're under a red flag condition. That's why you see all the crew members standing there looking at the car. They can't work on it under a red flag condition.
So let's watch this onboard replay one more time because you get a pretty clear view of the right front. So let's watch this as we drive into the corner. Contact's made.
Little buffer on my end.
Gonna freeze it right there. You know, right there, it's hard to say the right front's down, but same token, it's hard to say it's not. And again, I'm gonna trust Justin Allgaier. He knows what he's feeling. A lot of times, Steve, you can't really, if it's down 5, 7, 8, 10 pounds and it's starting to lose it quickly, you can't really see that initially. But
you know what that sounded like? That sounded like you were almost pretty sure. Isn't that what we got out of the crew chief?
Yeah.
Read the fine print.
I'm with you. I'm almost pretty sure as well.
Read the fine print. Well, not the finish that Ryan Sieg was hoping for here in his home state. Had a really fast race car, Kim.
Yeah, roller coaster of a day, had rebounded, but ultimately got caught up in that accident. What happened?
I'm not even sure. I just saw the 98 in front of me sideways, and that's about all I could see. I tried to check out, but it's just part of the racing here at Speedways. We had made up 2 laps down, and then we're contending right there in the top 5, and then just, looks like 7 just tried to move up on somebody, and we're just caught up in the mess. But we brought a fast Psyops forward, just sucky circumstance to come out of here with, you know what I mean, such a, a huge race for us, and to try to get into the playoffs and then potentially a win. But we got a plan, and we'll try to execute and just try to move forward to Watkins Glen, and hopefully we'll find ourselves in the playoffs and see what happens.
What does this team need to do over the next 2 weeks?
Just continue to do what we're doing. You know what I mean? Just, you know what I mean? The beginning of the race, luckily enough, we were able to rebound from it, but that was a mistake and could have cost us, you know what I mean, a huge part of our race. But we were able to capitalize, and I was able to drive back through the field. And like I said, we had a fast car. Just got to keep bringing fast cars and just execute and outpoint the other guys and just do something opposite and really dig deep and try to do all we can do. It just sucks, especially here at home.
With Sieg out, he's going to fall. The furthest he'll fall would be to 32nd. But you see the point difference now. Sammy Smith's still on the racetrack, and Sammy running in the 13th position, but 34 points separating Sieg and Smith before the end of this race with 18 laps to go.
Well, that's assuming that line stays there. Let's not forget we saw it at Darlington with the Briscoe win, how we think it's a points battle, and all of a sudden the finish line moves. And with that car sitting right there, the 9 of Brandon Jones, right? He's back here in 14th. So if he wins, next thing you know, the line kind of shows up right there. Mm-hmm. And then Klingerman's on the cut line about 30-something above. So there's a lot to figure out here in the next 18 laps.
Well, let's check back in with Kim. She has Cole Custer.
Yeah, and what preempted that big crash was contact between Cole Custer and Justin Allgaier. So walk us through your perspective, what you saw, what you felt.
I need to see a replay before I really say something, I guess. But I feel like overall it was just hard side drafting. And I mean, I think we just barely touched, and I think he blew a right front, and just, everybody got together after that. So we just barely. I mean, it was just a nick. You're trying to side draft as hard as you can going into 3 to try and, so he doesn't clear you going in there. And I mean, I can't believe that blew his right front. I mean, that light of contact. So it sucks. I mean, I felt like our Autodesk Ford Mustang was was pretty good all day. I mean, we could run up there and do with the best of them. So I'm really proud of what our team was doing there, and the cars bringing to the track. So just unfortunate. I hate it. Just hard racing.
Do you feel like ultimately it's just a product of this style racing?
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to side drive as hard as you can, and if you don't, I mean, they're going to clear you in the next corner. So you're just doing everything you can to try and pull them back, and they just smidged too much.
Unfortunate for Cole Custer, who is out, as well as Ryan C. A couple other involved in this incident. It was a sixth caution. We're under a red flag. They continue to clean up turns 3 and 4 here in Atlanta.
Red flag has actually just been lifted. We are under caution now, so back to that portion. Pit road has not yet been opened, so it's going to be a few more laps before we go green. Should open pit road up, probably not this time by, because they're pitted on they were stopped on the back straightaway. So I'd imagine that the following time by, lap 17 coming to 17 to go coming to 16 to go, we'll probably end up seeing pit road open at that point. Thanks for listening live to the Focus Health 250 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at the Atlanta Motor Speedway live on KRC. Be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We did hit our like goal of 100 for this stream. Greatly appreciate that for everybody that has hit the like button once again. We are currently at 103 likes, so be sure to hit the like button some more so we can continue to go past well and above what the goal was coming into this race. Subscribe for more NASCAR content as well. 55% of viewers over the last 28 days on the channel are not subscribed. Greatly appreciate everybody that tunes in, watches these streams every weekend, even the streams during the week as well. But be sure to hit the subscribe button. Helps the channel out a ton. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. We'll take another break, probably our final one of the race, especially if we go green to the end from this next restart. And you're listening live to the Xfinity Series race at Atlanta on KRC. Owen Allen, thanks for tuning in. I think you're one of the more recent people tuning into this stream. SVG got against the wall a little earlier on in the day. Still showing that rear bumper cover on the top of the 2. Still trying to figure out how it's hanging on to his race car. Free pass with this caution coming out goes to Jeb Burton. Back on the lead lap. Once we get back to racing, of course.
Just pick right up.
All right, they must know.
That's their assessment. There is no locking bumpers rule, right?
Yeah, neither one are going to get penalized for this.
The 2 just drove by the 9. I'm not sure what the 9 of Brandon Jones is doing. He's not on pit road. He's actually on the apron between pit road and the racetrack, back in the middle of turn 4. I don't know what the 9 is doing. Doesn't appear to be under power.
Yeah, he's slow.
I'm at complete 0 here.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Ryder.
Sitting inside the top 5. This team has 0 luck.
No luck whatsoever. Dave.
Was in 4th.
Jesse Lutz said, I want a water bottle. I want to tear off. There goes the tear off. I want to take off. There goes the takeoff. The bumper cover is off the roof. Said the car was a little bit tight, but not bad. He'll get 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Marty.
So how about this move from Alex Shantz? AJ Allmendinger said the middle of the run, I knew we should have pitted under that last caution, so they'll pit here with just a handful of laps left from 11th. Fresh tires. AJ saying, I just cannot hang on to the car anymore. And for Brandon Jones, you can see his teammate pushing him out. They're actually down pit road. So he said he lost a complete power inside the car and all fuel pressure. But the 7 being a nice teammate here, pushing Brandon Jones down pit road to his pit stall.
Yeah,
He can do that.
Yeah. I'm shocked at what's wrong with the 9, though. I mean, he was just sitting under red and fired because he. I don't know.
The 7, after sitting in his pit stall and the crew looking to do work on it, has now pulled behind the wall, and they go to work on the 9.
Here she is, I'll get out, but Yeah, we're in a heck of a race car, so thank you very much.
That was Allgaier.
Yes, they did. Fired up now, out of gas.
Yeah, I can't.
They won't stay fired, Jeff. That's the problem. They're spraying fuel directly into the cowl, Steve. Well, it's like old school. You don't see this on the cup side anymore, but it will not stay fired for Brandon Jones.
So you wonder if it's a fuel pump issue, a fuel cable issue. You know, if it'll run with the fuel going directly into the carburetor, you know, that tells you the engine will run.
Go.
Might be able to stay on the lead lap.
Very strange, Frank, because, you know, he was last on pit road about 60-something laps. So, but I thought he had enough fuel in it, but obviously something amiss on the 9 car.
Maybe a fuel pickup problem.
Yeah.
They're wrong in the fuel cell. They're picking the fuel up, and they had to get it full and then prime the carburetor. There's a tube that goes from that cowl all the way into the carburetor. You can fill that bottle up with fuel, and you just push it in there and literally fill the carburetor bowls up with fuel, fire it off, and then once it fires off, then the fuel pump starts working, and that'll pull the fuel from the fuel cell.
They'll be coming to the choose this time. So it'll be a restart with 13 laps to go.
All right, so now, Jeff, we have seen time and time when the race wasn't on the line, 3, 4 cars pick the outside. Who goes to the bottom? Well, I think each car in line, you think, makes the decision.
Well, there's a lot of people with a ton to win today. Josh Williams, if he can win this race, he's in the playoffs. Anthony Alfredo, if he can win this race, he's in the playoffs. Parker Kligerman, he's pretty good point shape anyway. I almost wonder what Parker Kligerman would do, right? Like he's great in points. Is it worth wrecking over? Is he going to push the issue that hard?
Or does he need that win? I mean, we don't know what his 2025 looks like. Does a win put him in a position where he's more valuable to whatever team? If it's, you know, staying with the organization he's with now, as we see the choose, wow, Austin Hill.
At the bottom.
You know, so his mindset is he's come to win the race. He wants to be on the front row.
Josh Williams in that white blue car, he couldn't decide what he wanted to do. He's like, I'm top bottom. Ended up going to the bottom.
Interesting.
Quick decision.
Marty, what was going on with the 9 and Brandon Jones?
I checked in with Adam Wall. He said he's not sure exactly what was going on with the fuel, but he said it could have been the way, as Jeff pointed out a moment ago, the way it was sitting under the red flag. But they would have needed to pit anyway, because look at the right rear tire for Brandon Jones. That body damage from earlier is on top of that right rear tire. You can see where it's just literally wearing that right rear out. It was flat when he came to pit road.
Well, the fuel is unfortunate, but good report by Marty. Now we'll just see.
Yeah, he lost a little bit more time in the pits with that being the case. We are about to get this restart underway. We'll have 13 laps to go at Atlanta. Field doubled up. Pace car headed to pit road right now. Again, 13 laps to go. Chandler Smith and Austin Hill, the 2 cars on the front row for the restart. Chandler Smith on the outside, Austin Hill down on the bottom on the inside. Row 2 inside. Josh Williams outside, Corey Heim, Truck Series regular. Green flag is in the air, and we are back to racing. Austin Hill did not take off well in the restart. May have spun the tires a bit. The 81 easily clear going off into the first turn. We'll see if he tries to pull to the push by the 26 of Heim continuously. Second surge of momentum building now for Hill off of turn 2. He's back alongside the 81, but it's not aggressive enough with the side draft. Still getting pushed by the 11 of Josh Williams. Williams lets go into the third turn, saying for the 26 to the outside, the 81, and Hill almost gets to the lead off turn 4, barely clear, a little contact and a crossover now by the 81 on the front stretch. I'm surprised Hill was able to have enough speed to pull off that move and barely clear the 81 of Chandler Smith, who did not lift and give him any extra room. A near incident. Luckily, both drivers didn't cause the accident and still remained first and second with the 21 in front of the 81. Josh Williams, the lead car on the bottom lane of the racetrack. Ryan Truex in the 20 just behind him. Side by side for second, here is Williams. Trying to pull to the outside lane. Almost tags the 81. He actually did, but luckily did not turn the 81 down to the bottom of the racetrack. Momentum stalled for the time being as they try to pick it back up again. Again, Austin Hill is your race leader, trying to get the Atlanta sweep. He has not won a race since that second race of the year at Atlanta Motor Speedway. One car in the wall in the middle of 3 and 4. Meanwhile, further back in the top 10, that was Taylor Gray in the 19. A lot of duct tape on the front of that 19 car. Of course, he was involved in that last crash. Surprised he's even in the top 15 right now as it is. Jesse Love, who had to come to pit road to get that 98 rear bumper cover off of the roof of his race car, has rallied Love into the top dozen. Running out of time to try to get to the front of the field with his teammate, though. Big gap for Josh Williams as a bit of distance now between the second and third place cars on the front stretch. Williams gets the push from the 26 and the 48 behind him, and here comes Williams for second, trying to time it out perfect. But as he makes a move to the bottom, doesn't look like he's going to have enough to complete the pass off turn 2 on Smith, and backwards goes Josh Williams. Bump draft nearly gone wrong on the back straightaway now from the 26 to the 81. Really, it wasn't even Heim's fault. He was getting pushed by the 48 of Kligerman. 3 cars pushing each other simultaneously, and 26 might have gotten a slight piece of the wall. All tires seem to be up, though. 8 laps left. Another big block on the bottom. That time it was Anthony Alfredo trying to pull down in front of Jesse Love in the 2. They're both on the bottom lane behind Williams, who continues on the inside. Top 5 cars, 6 now, single file on the top. So Austin Hill trying to hold off the pack of cars behind him for these final 7 laps around this 1.5 mile super speedway at Atlanta. Chandler Smith being patient for right now, not looking to pull off a move for the race win at the moment. You just got to hope that the cars in line behind him don't make that move as well. Heim not a teammate of JGR, but of course under the banner of Toyota. And the Sam Hunt Racing unsponsored 26 car. Heim, a full-time Truck Series regular, going for the championship there. Trying to maybe get his first career Xfinity Series win here this weekend. And shout out also to Lawless Allen in the 5th place position in the 15 car for AM Racing. Just a few Xfinity starts under his belt, as he has been running top 15 for the majority of the second half of this race. Survived that big crash with about 18 laps to go and worked his way up into the top 5 on the restart. Smith to the bottom of the racetrack, but Austin Hill covers it. 5 laps to go at the line this time by. Hill is in defense mode and is mirror driving with the 81 right there. Can Chandler Smith build up a big enough of a run at the right time, clear the 21, and hope that there isn't a crossover like we saw the last time these 2 cars were side by side? When does he feel the right time is going to be? And if it's too big of a run, you almost have to take it at this point as you're running out of laps. Top 3 are pretty tightly nose to tail. Kligerman, a little bit of a gap built up between him and the 3rd place car in front of him of Corey Heim. Now Chandler Smith backs off of the race leader Austin Hill. A decent gap built up in the middle of 1 and 2. And Smith's got to run on the back straightaway. And he doesn't go with it. He just pushes the back of the 21 into turn 3 instead. Felt that it might have been a little too early to make the move. I think if he can get to the outside, that would be one thing. But to pass to the bottom, Chandler still doesn't think that that was the right time. Because he definitely had a run to be able to do it. You just never know if you're going to be able to clear until you actually go to make the pass attempt, of course. AJ Allmendinger, 3 wide middle. Picking up some spots there just outside the top 5. A little contact between Allen and Allmendinger on the backstretch. That was because of the push that the 15 got from the 8. A lot of contact around the 15 and the 8 in the middle of 3 and 4. Both cars get sideways, barely kept it off the wall. Allen falls out of the top 10 and Smith out of the top 5. That leads now a 4-car breakaway at the front of the field. Allmendinger on fresh tires and fit, trying to close the gap. Second to last lap of the race. Down the back straightaway with a lap and a half to go. Here comes Chandler Smith. All over the back bumper of Austin Hill. Pushes him on the back straightaway again. Still Chandler Smith not looking to pull out a line and make the move yet. He pushes Hill off into the corner. Hill gets loose up the racetrack at a very aggressive move, by the 81 of Chandler Smith, but he's not clear. And Corey Heim goes with Hill. Hill leads. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Final lap of the race, into turns 1 and 2. Austin Hill trying to hold on. The 26 to the outside. Hill is going to block him up into the fence. Corey Himes against the wall, and here comes Kligerman to second. Loss of momentum for the leaders. Allmendinger up the middle to get to third. The 48 behind the 21 was oh so close to winning Daytona a couple weeks ago, but he's too far back off the exit of turn 4. Allmendinger to the inside for second. Austin Hill wins at Atlanta as he holds on in desperate fashion, blocking the 26 into the wall on the final lap of the race. A squeeze play. Heim still came across the line in 5th. He lost a couple positions on the final lap. Luckily, he didn't crash nor cut a tire. A 0.3 of a second margin of victory for Austin Hill as he sweeps at Atlanta here in 2024. Pit crew celebrating. Third win of the season for Hill. Again, all 3 on Super Speedway, sweeping Atlanta and getting the season opening win at Daytona. Started 4th today, didn't lead many laps until taking the lead on the final restart with an aggressive move and an even more aggressive move to hold on to the lead in the waning laps. Hill leads 12 laps en route to his victory today. 7th career win on a drafting track in the Xfinity Series here for Hill entirely. Most laps led was by A.J. Allmendinger. He led for 40 laps today, finishing 3rd. 28 laps led for Chandler Smith in the final stage as he ended up finishing, I believe, in 4th. The up 4th place for him. Jesse Love from the pole led for 23 laps. Justin Allgaier, who won Stage 1 today, leads 19 laps. Stage 2 was won by Allmendinger in the race. And again, the race win goes to Hill. Cole Custer leads for 27 laps in the race. 12 laps led as well for Taylor Gray. 1 lap led for Leland Honeyman under caution, as well as Sheldon Creed under caution, and those were all the drivers who led at least 1 lap in the race. 9 different drivers led at least 1 lap today. 13 lead changes total in this race. And we saw 6 cautions in this one. Final green flag run goes 48 laps. Or sorry, I missed the red flag. Final green flag run goes for 13 laps. And again, Austin Hill, your race winner. 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 5 seconds total time on this race to get through the regulation length of 163 laps, 250 miles. No overtime in this one. 118.21 mile per hour average race speed. 23 cars finished on the lead lap. And we'll go through the rest of the actual finishing order after an interview, of course, with your race winner, Austin Hill.
Well, I guess we should have figured that if you, nice 10 spot right there. Timmy Latiga, car chief there, giving him a hand as well. I guess we should have figured if you put the sponsor's logo at a certain place on the infield, that's where the driver's going to head. If he pulls off an incredible win like he just did, Austin, I'm thinking that wasn't the best handling car all day. How in the world did you do this one?
Oh my God, it was just resilience with this whole Bennett 21 team. Like you said, our Bennett Chevrolet wasn't handling great all day. It wasn't as fast as Xfinity Internet, and well, it had speed. I can't say that it had plenty of speed. Just the handle on it was tough all day. We had to dig deep for that one. The 81 got into 3 and had me jacked up. He's doing what he has to do to try to win. Very surprised that the 26 pushed me there and didn't go with a Toyota. And then I thought that I messed up.
It came up.
I thought that I messed up in the 1 and 2. And I hate it that he got in the fence. I wasn't trying to run him in the fence. I was just trying to, like, get him arrow tight or get him arrow loose, because that was happening to me a lot today. If anyone kind of ran up the track from the bottom, I would have big moments. So I was trying to do that to him, and I saw him get in the wall, and I was like, oh, man. And then I just had to keep the 48 there. I got down into 3, and that's the first time all day I got, like, extremely tight into 3. But we had enough of momentum off of 4 that it didn't matter. But I can't. This is insane. Like to win with this gold car, Bennett's 50th anniversary. This is their biggest race of the entire year. To do this for our sponsor, it means a lot. Yeah, we won, buddy. And
Yes.
there's over 500 people here for Bennett. You know, employees, friends, family, you name it. So yeah, there they are. So yeah, I can't thank everyone enough from Bennett. RCR, ECR engines were good all day. We're gonna celebrate this one because it didn't come easy.
Make sure you introduce the world to this. Who is this?
This is Barrett. He is wild.
Barrett, are you wild?
Good dogs.
Yeah, he is. And he's glad that Dad ended up in victory lane or close to it. He ended up at the logo, Rick, and that was more important.
A big smile on his face, asking Dad.
We'll probably get more interviews from other top finishers in this one. Until that becomes the case, we'll go through the rest of the finishing order in this race. Austin Hill again with the race win, 3/10 of a second margin of victory. Parker Kligerman ends up in second place at the end of another super speedway finish. AJ Allmendinger, won a stage earlier today, finishes third. Chandler Smith fourth. Corey Heim ends up in fifth, rounding out the top five. Almost had a shot at the win there in the final lap. He did get to the outside of the 21 and got stuffed into the fence, unfortunately, in turns 1 and 2 by the 21 on a bad block, but nonetheless, at least place position. He had to come back after pitting under that last caution with the debris that was stuck on the roof of his race car. So he still got a top 10 finish out of it. Sammy Smith ends up 7th. Good day for him on points. Needed it. Came into this race just 15 points above the cutoff line. 10 points, rather, above the cutoff line. He'll lead today much more than 10 points above, with Ryan Sieg not getting any stage points and DNFing. Sammy Smith getting stage points and getting a top 10 finish. Josh Williams had a great day. He ran top 10 for most of the second half of this race, finishes in 8th. Brandon Jones still came back to finish 9th despite being under power, under caution. Luckily, he was able to hang on to the lead lap under yellow and ultimately gets a good finish. Ryan Truex rounds out the top 10 in 10th after winning at Daytona 2 weeks ago on a similar racetrack. Kyle Weatherman ends up finishing 11th. Parker Kligerman 12th. Parker Retzlaff. Wrong Parker. Parker Retzlaff in 12th. Wallace Allen fell to 13th, was top 5 in the late going of the race. Made a good save to keep the race under green. Anthony Alfredo finishes in 14th, Brendan Poole 15th, and Kyle Sieg 16th. Leland Honeyman 17th, Mason Maggio 18th, Blaine Perkins 19th, and Nick Lights 20th. Ryan Ellis 21st, David Starr 22nd, Garrett Smithley 23rd, last car to finish on the lead lap. Jeb Burton a lap down, finishing in 24th. Sheldon Creed 3 laps down in 25th, had an unscheduled stop in the middle of the final stage. Riley Herbst finishes 5 laps down in 26 after being caught up in the big one. Shane Van Gisbergen 6 laps down, had his own wreck early in the final stage. He finishes 27th. Taylor Gray ended up finishing 9 laps down in 28th. He restarted, but then ended up this one because he was 13th there for a moment when they first got back to racing. But obviously something was wrong on the 19. Jeremy Clements, DNF, finishing in 29th. 30th for Justin Allgaier, Cole Custer 31st, Ryan Sieg 32nd, Morgan Baird 33rd, CJ McLaughlin 34th, Matt DiBenedetto 35th, Sam Mayer 36th, and Dawson Cram 37th. That rounds out the field. Here's Chandler Smith after finishing in 4th.
Surprised.
Yeah, we're Toyota teammates, and I got clear out of the restart zone and could have went bottom and hung him up top to be the leader. The top lane, and I didn't. I stayed up top with my Toyota teammate. Ultimately gave up the lead doing that. So yeah, I expected my Toyota teammate to come with me, and that didn't happen, and it is what it is. So I mean, we had a really fast number 81 Wheelers GR Super all day. It was fast as Xfinity Internet. Feel like I've been robbed from 3 Atlanta wins now, unfortunately, in my career here. And, I'm kind of speechless, honestly. There's a lot of different things I could have done that I could have been more selfish, and when I got cleared, went to the bottom and covered that and just controlled the race for sure. I was trying to be a good teammate, and it didn't pay off for me today, as usual.
A disappointed Chandler Smith.
And we hear that a lot from drivers. I should have been more selfish. And right now, the guy that's headed to victory lane, Austin Hill, he knows that he's done the right thing.
I thought he was going to say that when he said, you hear more drivers saying you have to be more selfish. I was waiting for him to say, and here's Austin Hill, who is definitely selfish. He did not say that, though. I was waiting for it. Austin Hill, late blocks able to hang on, get the win here today at Atlanta. Again, he led just 12 laps and sweeps at his home track here this season. Third win of the year for Hill, again on the year. Tomorrow's NASCAR Cup Series coverage will begin at 2:30 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race. Hope to tune in for that. Appreciate everybody tuning in throughout today's live streams, both the Cup Series qualifying stream earlier this afternoon as well as this one here today. For more live, realistic commentary streams like this one, for NASCAR races on NASCAR Truck Xfinity Cup Series races, as well as Cup practice and qualifying every weekend, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button as well on the stream. Appreciate everybody that did do that today. We did get to our goal of 100. Currently, we are at 113, so we did get well above that goal. Again, couldn't obviously do it without you guys, and greatly appreciate everybody tuning in every weekend and allowing me to be able to do this every weekend going forward. So see you guys tomorrow for the finale of the live commentary slate this weekend. Then we'll get back to the gaming stuff, obviously, during the week as well on this daily NASCAR channel. Have a good rest of your Saturday night, everybody, and enjoy. Until tomorrow, we'll meet again.